when you've got to approach from this long avenue of main, that can be really, you can get a lot of value out of the Soldier 76 pick.
This composition of dive, or perhaps maybe even counter dive, will be playing defense first here. Hydration and the will represent the combination, and they might find a difficult time looking for the boops that they want to enter into this, but they're running kind of a 4-2 squad as the Fair Mercy combo does rotate over to the left side while the remainder of them go down, and already Hydration is able to take out Jake with a quick rocket. Super also already down. They need to find something to pull this backside show.
Waffletastic playing around the point as well, deciding not to go for the pinch play, and this is taking a lot of damage. He's gonna fall. None of that resurrection being built up, but even so, they've got a lot of pressure around the point here, and they're still gonna be able to pressure all of the LG Evil guys out.
Well, the big thing is that they were able to take out the Mercy early, so if they can get in here and stall, Jake already back up thanks to his very early death. Super comes in, takes down the remainder of the healing in Mikado. Shiny very low, and all this damage is permanent. Super showing up huge on the Winston, gets a triple kill, and look how close it is, but it will revert to 2 ticks there.
The fact that they got Mikado down afterwards was so crucial, because as you said, all of that damage was permanent, and they managed to get back in onto Shiny and Hydration and just whittle them down bit after bit. So LG Evil, throughout this tournament, have just managed to hold on to games by the skin of their teeth, and so far doing it on Numbani first.
Well, looking at Hydration as they do rotate around the edge again, he's getting damage boosted. They run this 2-4 composition almost all the time. They will boost out the Winston below, trying to get some damage in there. That is Super able to take down Mikado yet again. The damage is going to be cut in half. A lot rides on this combination, but Hydration hits Q, and we know what happens to Ferris, who hit Q a lot of the time.
You just suspended in the air and ask him to be killed, and he's plucked out like a flower in spring. He goes down, and a lot of ultimates here on the side of LG Evil as well as they defend. They really haven't had to use so many. Used a bit of a tempo nano boost in the last fight as Rob420 got it up, and he's going to start building that one. The Resurrect is only just starting to come online for thee as well. Really great focus, I think, from particularly Super, Jake, and Train to make sure that he's been taken out in all of these fights really early on.
Well, the only way they win this fight is if they force out ultimates and then resurrect. They can't resurrect before they've already forced out a couple of ultimates. Still the poke war just beginning now as the combo rolls over to the side. What Rob goes down immediately to Miso, so damage on the other side now down. There goes Jake, 64, and they haven't even had to use res. If they lose anyone now, you have to expect the tempo resurrection. Still bloodless now. Volt is able to take down Mikado yet again. That puts the clock on this resurrection. Self-destruct goes off, but still very drawn out here, Sideshow.
Yeah, V has taken a lot of damage, just using the Resurrect in order to keep himself alive and resurrect the rest of the players on the team. So 6 there, and the sound barrier that catches everyone on the team. Voldy mech, Super falls as well, and now they're in a really good position, actually, because they've still got both of their healing targets up. Hydration's taking a nap on the floor, but he's going to be defended by the rest of his team, and finally it looks like they're going to eradicate LG Evil from the point and be able to move forwards. That second tick into the third looks like it's just going to be completed, but the spawn is coming in here as well.
They will finally get this point. These battles have been largely about who can kill the other supports first. Early on, it was Counter Logic Gaming getting taken out, especially and Mikado dying a couple of times, but that time, opening up the fight with a kill on Rob was such a huge kill for them. He is such a backbone of their healing. They expect so much out of him, oftentimes putting single healer duties onto him, but now they have to hold a little bit further back. Some teams will hold further front at the choke, but LG Evil not quite as aggressive as some until Jake comes back in here. He's getting bust out the blade, looks for one, does dash through in the sky, but still has to jump back in there while Hydration able to get the barrage down, D-suits Vol, so all going the way of CLG, and I cannot imagine this fight does not go them. There's the full cleanup. What happened there?
With the Dragon Blade, Jake took the Dragon Blade and tried to go into the Farah Mercy combo, took V down to about 5 health, something ridiculous like that, single-digit HP, but wasn't able to get the kill, so didn't get the dash reset and just kind of sat on the floor looking at them. Had to climb up a building, see if he could get the final swipe onto Hydration, but didn't really get the value that he was looking for out of that play. Rob's moved over to the Zenyatta as well, so doesn't have the Nano Blade to be able to work with, but they are going to be re-engaging this fight without very many ultimates, but Super with the Primal Rage on the floor, and Hydration's been picked as well, as Jake moves over to the Soldier 76.
Well, they needed to move on to the Soldier 76. A lot of teams are trying to deal with combos with just the Genji, and sometimes it's not enough. The Tempo Resurrection will come in, but Jake's able to take down Shiny right after. The Sound Barrier does come in. Lay It combo as old as time. Resurrection into Barrier brings this team back to full health, and it's all over but the crying for LG LG Evil as just a couple remain on the cart of Vast and Train trying to stall it out so that their team can get in a better position. I don't think they have any aspirations of actually holding this point, and if they did, those dreams are dead. Now, Hydration pushing forward. This has been a roll after the first couple of holds. This is a choke point on the Numbani that teams can hold, but defense a little further back right now.
Definitely, it's also a choke on Numbani that teams can hold with more tanks in the composition as well, and one that kind of, if both of these fights end up resetting and ultimates reset across the board, there's actually loads up for both teams at the moment. But if it does, I think we'll see some composition changes. For now, though, Rob keeping his team alive with the Transcendence in the back line. Jake on the Soldier 76 as well. They're getting pressured by a Shiny, but he's very quickly used. Barrage comes down as well. Surely Hydration going to be focused, but Miksa keeping him alive with that defense matrix. Fight still kind of going their way. Sound Barrier make sure that LG Evil stay alive, and they're going to get these final couple of picks. Let's see whether any changes in the composition come as well, as Hydration picked down last kill on Mikado as well.
Well, Train on the cleanup crew, really nice, and now they're going to stagger out Mikado. Really well done there, going to push out the Lucio. This is a great position you want to be in on the defense. The cart right here, it's a very difficult point to push because your only options are up through the tiny room up top, who you're always going to have someone up there watching, and through the main corridor, and you have to fight up a hill, very reminiscent of last point on Gibraltar, fighting uphill where there's not really any flanks. However, they give up the high ground for free here. Not sure what they saw that made them want to back out of there. Self-destruct will zone out. A lot of people in the backline gets two. Jake and Rob go down immediately, and that puts LG Evil in a terrible spot.
Could you ask for a better backline self-destruct than that one? Miso's been having a hell of a tournament so far, and then also picks up the kill on Vol, I think before he got into his mech as well, so rolling this one forwards. Super Jake still have their ultimates. They'll be able to recontest this as it gets down. 1 minute left on the clock.
Well, Super and Jake are going to have to combine for something great. Mikado's had a rough game so far, but he can bring his team to the promised land with a well-timed sound barrier here, and that is exactly what goes on. Everybody gets in that sound barrier except for Shiny, gives his life for it. Primal Rage already out as Waffle, able to take down Jake. Very back and forth here. All the ultimates are popped, all the cards on the table. LG Evil finds the kills they need, thanks in large part to Rob, who flexed onto the Zenyatta after early struggles on the Ana. LGE will hold, and they have the better economy here.
They didn't have to use that tactical visor whatsoever, and Rob and Avast are going to be on their support ultimates, so this is now a really tough cookie to break. They've moved iShiny over to the Reinhardt, allows them a much easier progression forwards, and Waffle over to the Hog, seeing if he can just pull out some clutch glory as he goes for a flank. Oh no, he looked like he was going for a flank, but instead just going to waddle through this room and see if he can catch anyone by surprise.
Nanoblade should be incoming here. It is their last best hope, but he has to do it through two support ultimates, so unless the LGE supports really mess up, it's going to be difficult. The Transcend comes out to counter the Nanoblade, and he's following everyone, making sure Hydration gets absolutely nothing. They are also popping the sound barrier too. Train is the only one with the kill. 2 kills now for LG Evil. They are no longer running the Mercy, so no one will be brought back to life. And it is Train and Super yet again cleaning up the mess on the cart. They will deny the closeout for Counter Logic Gaming.
A good defense as it came to the end there for LG Evil, playing their ultimates pretty wisely. It is a really difficult last point to crack on Numbani, that final stretch. And the rest of the pace for CLG was lightning fast as they came through. And really, it's been their defense that's been so good on Numbani. When they've played it previously in this tournament, they've been able to really disrupt any setups that have been happening on that first point with the Fire Mercy, so I expect that to be coming out again.
LGE is one of the rare teams that I find their defense more interesting to watch than their offense. I think their offense can be a little scattered at times, and a lot of it just really depends on what kind of day Jake is having. Is he having a good Genji day or not? Flexes onto a lot of different heroes, but their defense, they generally run a lot more tanks. I don't know if that's going to be the case on this first point here. It's a map where you can run a Reinhardt, but you don't really want to until you get to that third choke. It's too wide open, especially the open initiation. Unless you're really going to camp top corner, running a Rein here would be odd to say the least. Do you see anything out of these compositions that's surprising you at all?
Yeah, I really thought that they would be running the Fire Mercy on the defense here, but so far it looks like the Hydration are going to be on the Ana and Genji respectively as they set up. And I mean, I think that's probably because when they were playing against Immortals previously in the quarterfinals, I think they read the fact that they were going to be playing into triple tank. But LG Evil, although they're known as a triple tank team and seem to have their best successes and look the best when they're playing that real death ball style, they have certainly been flexing to the 2-2-2 and the triple DPS throughout this tournament. I don't think you can bank on that kind of thing. So looks like for the moment, CLG are going to be sticking with the Ana and the Genji as we begin.
The offense for LG Evil being a dive is not super surprising because Numbani was the map that kind of created the necessity for dive. When teams would camp up in the back corner, you almost had to run a Winston, then teams decided let's run a Diva too and push it all the way back. So I think you always play defense expecting the dive. We saw Immortals try to run a more traditional composition against CLG and it just didn't work at all. So the dive should be expected here. They are just going to walk right up the stairs, Vol and Jake together combining to just try to get in some poke damage while some pressure is put on the point. Shiny finds himself all alone. Now Miso comes down to try to help him out. Scattered fights all over the place, but Jake will get Shiny first. Waffle still uncontested top, still peppering in a lot of damage. Vol has tried to get up there, but Waffle wins his 1v1 versus Jake.
Yeah, and Hydration really hasn't had that much impact, but he's kind of been saved by the rest of his team. Waffletastic up top as well, getting pressured by Avast for now, but can't quite hit the boop, won't displace him, and Mikado's getting peppered down on the point as well. Just hiding in the corner, but Train can't be denied. He's going to loop around. And now he's got his Pulse Bomb to work with, sticks that one right onto Ice Shiny's face, takes him down with a bit of pepper as well. And Train's now running into them.
Train's Tracer has been a great point for LG Evil today. They had Waffletastic up top, largely uncontested, but Train zipping around, unable to get killed, and finally put enough time on that point to bring in reinforcements. Super landed the jump. Waffletastic was evicted from his high ground, and now what happens to teams when they struggle a little bit with an odd composition? They go back to their comfort picks. That would be Hydration on Pharah. V will be playing Mercy. This is a point you can run it on defense more comfortably. It's a much higher ceiling, a lot open area.
I think it also gives you a more decent chance at winning fights in this streets where most teams would be at a disadvantage. Looks like a dive is in from Shiny and Miso, but they're both getting destroyed immediately. The focus fire coming down from Rob and Jake, really strong. Waffletastic in the back, pops out his visor, but getting focused down, only managed to demag Vol, and that CLG been wiped.
Oh, that face when you're a Mercy and the only target to heal is a baby diva. Can't feel good. So they switched up their compositions, found nothing into it. I'm not certain that that's the composition you want to dive into LG Evil on. You might kind of want to stay back a little bit with your combo and just do as much poke. And then when you do enough damage, call it in to Waffletastic, let him flank, let Shiny go pick it up. But now another dive in comes early on from this CLG team as Shiny goes in all alone again. I does so because he has that Primal Rage. Meanwhile, Jake has taken V out of the sky that nerfs the healing. The self-destruct comes from around the corner, a terrible self-destruct position. Gonna force out a Transcendence at the very least, and Train still cleaning up. Shiny alive remains, but it has been mostly LGE here. Can this stall buy enough time? I don't think so.
They are delaying a little bit, and they've forced a lot of ultimates out there. Both of the support ults, plus the Primal Rage, and actually right at the beginning of the fight came the Tactical Visor. So 4 ultimates that they expended there to win the fight. That was a lot of pressure, and it's allowed the CLG guys to expend everything they had, just throw everything on the table, and then switch their compositions up. So running the triple tank into this one. Haven't seen much Zarya coming out from Miso throughout the whole of this tournament. He's pretty much stayed on the Diva, so now they're running something that we really haven't seen from CLG as yet.
Yeah, the Zarya's got to be able to deal with Vol. Vol will put down the self-destruct. Everyone is evacuating off the point. Mikado finds himself out in no man's land, and he will be the first to go down. The hook does hit, but hook 2.0 will not bring him up to the high ground. Still, Mikado the only one down, but now there goes the all of the healing is down for Counter Logic Gaming. Damage will be permanent. Ra will go down as well, but all has already been lost. LGE rolling through on this cart, and there will be another fight, but 4 minutes remain for them to push it to the end.
Yeah, they're going to have to be quick as well, because if Super's playing aggressively into them and locking them out of the choke. There we go. That was, it seemed all too simple, actually, for LG Evil. They slammed that one home.
They were always in the ult disadvantage, largely because they kept switching their compositions. You didn't see a single barrage because they only had 1 life on the Pharah Mercy. And yes, the time to switch probably was right then after all the ults were expanded, but they needed to hold once or twice, because switching to Zarya, you're doing it a lot of times. You can maybe specifically counter a Diva, but you want that Graviton, you want those kind of hits, and they didn't win that next fight, and that was it for them. They needed at least 1 hold after switching compositions, couldn't find it.
Yeah, they definitely did. And one of the biggest problems with them when they took that first fight just around the corner, where we're seeing the actual, where we're seeing the play of the game happen, was that Vol sent in the self-destruct, and they all had to dive for cover, and Mikado just took a route that nobody else was taking. And so there was no ability to peel or pocket or just do anything for him. He was alone, as you said, in no man's land, instantly picked. And once he goes down, they're lacking a lot of heals to keep that triple tank composition viable.
The self-destruct on last point there, I've seen Korean tournaments too where they get 4 or 5. That last point seems like a great spot for D.Va self-destructs because it's wide open and it forces people into these corners, and if you have people covering the corners, you should be fine. Also, the previous self-destruct that did really well, they had Super in the back line already punching people with Primal Rage, so people are trying to run away and they find Donkey Kong throwing them right back into the fray. Our next map will be Lijiang Tower. What do you think?
That's an interesting one, actually, Lijiang, because CLG looked reasonably good on Lijiang. Like, they had a couple of decent rounds, and they went really competitive with everyone they played against. But so were LG Evil. They played really well when they were playing against Splice, particularly. But then they looked like they were much more susceptible when they played against Cloud9. So both of these teams have kind of been off and on this map, and CLG have chosen it as their... Was that right? Was that CLG's pick?
Let me look. No,
LG Evil's pick.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So in general, I think LG Evil have looked better when they've been playing on the control, so I was a bit confused thinking it was CLG's pick, but of course they picked on Barney, so they're already down in terms of the home map advantage.
Right. They've been kind of going towards control, then away from it. It's been an odd couple of days because yesterday they picked mostly control, then today early on they picked not control. They even banned some out. But while we have a moment here as teams get ready to do things, you can take control, of your gaming life by entering our giveaway, cyberpowerpc.civo.com/giveaway. We're giving away a quad-core i7 7700K. I have a 6700 and it's awesome. That's got to be 1,000 times better. A 250 gig solid state drive from Western Digital and a Corsair mechanical keyboard. So make sure to go to cyberpowerpc.civo.com/giveaway. I think ! Giveaway in chat. We'll also hook you up that link. Enter in. It's free stuff. Why not do it? It's free stuff.
I agree. I always like free stuff. You can't get enough free stuff.
I really thought when I got into casting that I would be flooded with more free stuff, and I've gotten some stuff, but I really just thought I'd be swimming in like free T-shirts and swag all the time. It's just not the case.
Like Scrooge McDuck diving into a pool of mechanical keyboards or something. That hurt, man. Maybe it's a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I love my mechanical keyboards though. I think I own 3. I'm buying my friend's other mechanical keyboard because I can't find good ones with black switches anymore. They just like stopped making them, and I don't know. People have weak hands, I guess. Black switches are too hard to press. What kind of keyboard do you use? What kind of
membrane
switches?
Keyboard, man. A Dell or a Microsoft keyboard. I'm looking down. It was a Microsoft. Yeah, I had a Dell one and it broke, so I just bought another membrane Microsoft one. I don't buy into the hype, with these mechanical keyboards, but a lot of people love them. So, who am I to talk?
Clickety clack, man. You got to get your click clack going. I suppose a mechanical or a membrane keyboard probably more viable in the conditions of the shed out there, right?
No, the mechanical keyboard would be so much better, right? Because it doesn't have the electronics to break inside. Right. So if it gets damp, you can still use it. It's like a typewriter. They'll never fail. Well,
it does look like we are just about ready to get into game here. Lijiang Tower. I think a lot of this should end up being about Tracer v Tracer. Control maps, you're generally going to see a lot of Tracer across the board, although Waffle has busted out the McCree. And I think if Train starts going wild on Tracer, who I assume will be on Tracer, then a McCree is a good option for that, but you have to stay close to your supports. McCree can be a great Secret Service agent, bodyguard, protect your supports with flashbangs. So we'll see what teams want to run. Again, I wouldn't be surprised with Fair Mercy. What are you seeing so far as we assemble our heroes?
Something that's been interesting from CLG is that when they play the control center of this map, they've been tending towards running Hydration on the Roadhog and then Waffle-tastic on the McCree, like you were saying. And it's a composition I haven't really seen from other teams, is this triple tank, but where you have the Winston, D.Va, and then the Roadhog. But they're playing pretty disciplined and peeling for their Roadhog all the time. They kind of use it just for the pick potential, it seems. And it hasn't been abused that much by the other teams. They haven't had as much success as when they've been running the Fire Mercy, which I think is a style they've really nailed down. But it's certainly something they've been tending towards. But for now, we've got the classic composition from CLG facing a double hit scan dive over from LG Evil.
Well, LG Evil is going to actually put Jake on to 76 the last second, knowing that this is a map and stage that you're going to see the pharmacy combo on a lot. Probably going to look for the initial boop, trying to get people off of the bridge, but of course Vol is in position there. The early dive from Shiny will get a lot of pressure as both of the Wistons get a lot of cleave going on early. Rob going down is really going to hurt them. They have to rely on only Lucio now. It's going to really change their positioning.
Hydration and these still up top. They've kind of pinned out Vol here in a bit of bad positioning, and he's losing a lot of health. If they can get the early DMAC on one of these divas, and Miso stays alive, they are actually both trading at the same time. But Train finding the pick onto the could potentially swing the tide of the fight, but Abbas has been taken down as well, and Rob has a lot on his platter.
It has been the Train show. Choo-choo. He's gotten 4 kills throughout this entire fight, maybe even 5. Hard to even keep track, but he has been the one finishing the plate of this team. Rob will come back in. Waffle does throw in a desperate... Well, no, that was Train's pulse bomb, excuse me, but Train just adds in a couple kills, because why not? I play a lot of Tracer, so I know she gets the glory that she doesn't deserve, but I'm not going to say that. Train deserved all that glory.
Train has been playing fantastically. Waffles also had some really good games, and both of them are synergizing well with the distraction that the rest of their teams are providing. And the pressure's on CLG here to re-engage, and they've found it a little difficult to get back into these fights a couple of times, particularly when they were playing against Rise. They got locked out of this particular stage.
I was just going to mention that Shiny's life's going to be difficult because he has to face against a Zenyatta. Winston hates it, but he just takes away the problem right away. Hydration gets a double off of the barrage, ends up being a triple DMAC, and V will take away all the damage that had previously been done by LG Evil. The visor does come out from Jake, gets very little, and it's Counter Logic Gaming taking the point back.
They managed to take that one. They invested the Resurrect in the middle of it as well, and they'll have the sound barrier for the next fight, but there's a lot of ults up here on LG Evils, and they're going to be in the advantage in terms of that. They can trade out the sound barriers and still have Rob 420's Transcendence to keep themselves alive, or a Primal Rage to try and get in. They're going to have to invest them pretty early on, it looks like, because LG Evil applying the pressure.
Well, the self-destruct does come up over the top, does not get much, but zones people out. Jake already down is really going to nerf their damage, and speaking of nerf damage, here comes the sound barrier as well. Counter Logic Gaming takes over, and despite the ultimates used from LG Evil, they got absolutely nothing in that fight.
Great aggression coming out from CLG, putting the pressure really early onto Avast, so they had to pop the sound barrier. They put so much damage into their tanks as well. They're all kind of clustered up on the bridge, and then just tickle Rob, and he has to pop his Transcendence because he doesn't want to die and just leave his team without it. There's a damage boosted rocket straight into the poor little Omnic Monk's face as well.
Rob is a great player, but he has died first in every single one of these fights for LG Evil, and Train was able to heroically bring it back for them previously, but not the case this time. Waffle's going to have his Pulse Bomb up, so he's probably going to be creeping around. If they go through Pack Room, that should be a great opportunity to land a Pulse Bomb while they're all clumped up. It's going to be up to the Diva. They're actually just going to throw the Self-Destruct in there, try to block the door, and Super pays his life for it.
Train's desperately trying to take this back for his team. He was applying so much pressure to the Pharah, particularly the Mercy in the backlines, but there's nothing he can do. When Super's your first death, that's really bad news, because he was the one that was looking to engage with the Primal Rage, or at least force a bit of aggression onto CLG and see if they would use some ultimates and give up some position, but now CLG on 90%.
They just trapped him in that room. They bowled in the self-destruct and then put people on both doors. They could not get out there. Hydration's gonna have the barrage already. Rob down again first. Super follows. Those are 2 people you cannot lose. This is all over. And they don't even need the resurrection. Train takes down the, because I guess he can, but it doesn't matter.
No, there's nobody that's going to be able to recontest that. Super just gets body blocked as he attempts to come in. And there's the first stage of Lijiang Tower going over to CLG, and this was LG Evil's pick as well, so we could see a situation where they both flip-flop maps, but there's still a long way on Lijiang left to go.
There certainly is, and Rob is known very widely for his Ana play, and I always question players who played mostly Ana when they have to switch, or if they have to switch. Ana's fallen a little bit out of favor because you do want that Discord orb, and he died first every fight, every single fight. There were maybe 5 that entire game, and he was the first death. Not entirely his fault, because you need your tanks around you, and they're going to switch to a tank-heavier composition here, but so is Counter Logic Gaming.
And CLG are actually playing Ice Shiny on the Reinhardt, which they haven't done every time they've used this comp. Mostly he's been sticking to the Winston. We have seen a couple of times where he's been on the Rhine as well. That gives Hydration a safer place to play from, along with Waffle-tastic as well. Both teams look like they're going to clash on this high ground.
Yeah, this is the Braveheart scenario that happens on Control Center. Both teams just kind of push right at each other, super discorded, and no one down just yet as these tanks still beefy and alive. Shiny hits a nice charge onto Super. That Reinhardt shield now down opens things up as they desuit Vol. No more shielding, no more health. However, it means very little as Train and Jake combine to take down the whole of Diva. Still pretty back and forth. CLG has the advantage. It is 5v4, and that should seal it. They have just too many numbers now.
Hydration has been outplaying Train at the beginning of this. Oh, Jake in the backline as well, but that flashbang was perfectly timed just to completely neutralize his ultimate. But yeah, Hydration's been having one hell of a game with his hooks, at least in the beginning of this Control Center.
And Jake got a little cute with that flank visor. The fact he had visor up just shows you how much damage went down between both sides there early in that fight. And despite a lot of progress on the point for LG Evil, it will be Counter Logic Gaming taking first control. And that's great news for Waffle-tastic, because holding the point as McCree is a whole lot easier than taking the point as McCree. He's going to have shields to sit behind. This front line tank wall is going to be difficult to bust. And they're not running a Zen, which you would like to be able to bust this.
Whoa, Ice Shiny with the Earth Shatter. Super manages to block it, and now he's going to get the pin. Super's still got one to reply with as well as the sound barrier comes out. He's got impunity. He can use it whenever he likes. Misses the charge a little bit, though, and he has used his tranquility in there. So Ice Shiny gets the better end of that tank fight, despite the fact that Super still had it up. They're going to use the nano boost. They want to invest in this fight.
Well, Jake found himself all alone. Now he's going to try to get through a defense shield and a matrix. Does so, threads the needle, able to take down Waffle-tastic with a beautiful Helix rocket. Now Super is back into it and out for vengeance. He's going to have to block out this self-destruct, which he does with ease. They use a ton of ults there to try to take this back, but they will eventually flip the point over.
Just staggering Miso now. This is just cruel, just blocking him, making sure that he can't get to the edge, or at least that he takes a long time before he gets to the edge. But LG Evil getting their first taste of ticking the timer up. Got a lot of ults on the board as well here. Rob used the nano boost onto Jake as they recommitted to that fight, so he doesn't quite have it on 50%, but they've still got the Tattle Visor, and a decent attempt at Super knocking players down onto the floor.
Well, there goes the self-destruct in through the back lines. It's sneaking in the back. Wow, I can't believe they got two off of that. Hydration was on the flank looking for something, but now he's just going to find himself all alone. No man's land. Train will dispatch him with ease. Now out getting tied up for LG Evil here. And they were able to hold on to the visor and the Earthshatter as well.
Super's been holding on to this one for a long time. Makes me think that he's waiting for the perfect opportunity, and Ice Shiny's not quite giving it to him just yet. They're playing well with this front tank line, but... Oh, there's the hook, and that's immediately going to signal it. A huge Earthshatter.
Four-man Earthshatter combining as they get the shield out of the way. The gates are open, and Super puts everyone on the ground. Sure, you need the visor after that, but I won't begrudge it. If you really want to build visor up again, Rob can just raw nano Jake, and you kind of trade the nano boost for a different ult. A nice charge there. They're just gonna nano Super right now, right out the gate. Forces out a sound barrier from the other side of things. Still bloodless as all these tanks try to do enough damage to each other, but when everything fades away, still nothing.
Yeah, these had to use his Transcendence to see if they can re-engage. Super actually falls to a nice headshot from Waffle-tastic. Dropped the shield for a second. Sound barrier was just about to come out. Hydration gets the better end of that Roadhog battle as well. Ice Shiny slams down his hammer. They catch Vol, and they're back in control of the point. 98% though. A single error here, and it's going to be bad news for CLG.
The fact it's 98 is one of the only reasons I excuse that Earthshatter, because there were two already down. There was no reason to use an ultimate as valuable as Earthshatter there, but when your back is against the wall like that and you absolutely must win a fight, I can understand the sensation. Miso's going to have self-destruct here, can probably throw it up in the sky. They cannot lose a single fight. Vol will be nearing his self-destruct, and actually they bowl in the self-destruct, and it finds a Bast in the backline. There goes Train as well. This push is all but over. Time to back out.
80% well, so they need to be fast on the disengage and make sure that they have time to get back in there. Rob and Super ticking up to their ultimates. They've got an Earth Shatter that they can try and sync with perhaps a bit of a flanking nano visor. That's 90%. They have to be fast in, and they know exactly when it's going to come. Both support ults going to be live as well for CLG. Tough.
This is going to be a very important Earth Shatter if they can find it. Now, the Transcend is going to come up, so Super's still holding, but they've lost both supports as LG Evil. All this damage will be permanent. Train will grab one, but that is it. Counter Logic Gaming will take a 2-0 lead on Lijiang Tower.
Looking great as well. The recon test as they managed to get in, and great use of the ultimates towards the end to make sure they stayed in control of the point and end up with the win. And they're going up 2-0 on LG Evil's map pick. So we've already seen the map picks kind of flip around on the first one of Numbani, where that was CLG's pick, but LG Evil came out with the win. And 2-0, this is the reverse sweep territory here for LG Evil if they want to get back and start the series with 2-0.
Well, I think I understand Lijiang a little bit for them because you can run Reinhardt on certain situations, especially control point, but Super is going to go back to the Winston anyway, a much more divey composition. And I worry a little bit for Rob here because he died a lot trying to get in. He's back on the Zenyatta and he's going to have to face down the pharmacy combo of Counter Logic Gaming. Waffletastic is going to land on the Tracer now instead, give him a little more mobility, and this fight is actually taking place right around the point. Both teams bypassing the courtyard.
CLG previously, when they played this with the same composition, they like to hang out around the back of the point, and then they send Waffletastic around the front into the courtyard and see if they can get any picks. Now though, Hydration coming over the top, damage boosted Rocket takes down Jake. Rob also falls. They've got enough picks to be able to snowball this fight. The rest of the tanks in here are just cannon fodder, ultimate charge generation. I'm going to be able to pick up the first capture of this point.
I think Hydration gets a lot of the glory, and even myself being enamored with Pharah as I am, I gave him a lot of the glory early on, but the more I watch this team, the more I'm impressed with Waffletastic as the carry on the ground that they need. Shiny also plays a really nice Winston too, so a lot of people have eyes on the sky on Pharah, as you should, can be all important, but Waffle carried that fight, and they're going to need someone to help Train deal with Waffle if they have a chance of taking this point back.
Yeah, Jake has to be the man that sits back with Rob and Avast and keeps him safe, but Avast just wins that fight anyway, immediately. Kills the Tracer, and Ice Shiny's also fallen, so this could be a quick swap. V is really close to the Resurrect, though. Potential for them to use that one, and he will. And it gets Hydration back up into the fight. Waffletastic's gonna sprint over here as fast as he can as well, but it's still pretty even across the board.
Yeah, I just caster cursed everyone. As I called them out in order, they all went down. Waffletastic, Shiny, and then the Hydration went down. Still a brawl on this point. Mostly LG Evil still alive, and they're dispatching the remainder of Counter Logic Gaming. 53% on the board for CLG, as now LG Evil take control. Super on the perch above the doorway. This is smart. You get a lot of free cleave damage in. It'll be interesting to see, but look, they already sent the combo over the side. They knocked Super off the perch to make entry really easy. What a cute way to get back on the point for CLG.
Yeah, Hydration and V just making sure that they use that. Oh, there comes the sound barrier. Going to be responded perhaps by Mikado. He's still got that one, but Hydration with the barrage takes down Jake and Avast there. And Rob 420 forced to pop out that Transcendence, but perhaps that was just a lost fight. I'm surprised he committed his ultimate to that one.
The Transcendent needed to be out either earlier to save people's lives or not at all, because you were already 2 down. I don't know what they think is going to happen on this point. Perhaps they're willing to trade lives just for percentage points. It is a valid strategy on control point, but they are going to give up all of their ghosts, and Counter Logic Gaming will take it back. The biggest problem, too, is now there's going to be another resurrection. There's been a lot of damage that's gone unfinished, allowing V to complete his, well, ultimate quest, if you will.
That's going to be a tricky one for them, because they're already up to 70% as well, so at the very least, they're going to be able to delay it up to 99 and into overtime if V isn't focused down immediately, and worst case scenario, they just take it and take Lijiang 3-0.
Essentially the last fight if V does not go down into it. So they will posture up onto the point. A very early Primal Rage is popped. Still Hydration just peppering in damage below. Jake is able to take down Shiny, who I said popped that Primal Rage a little bit early. Now Hydration, Shiny both down, and CLG not popping the resurrection. I'm not sure where V ended up, but he ends up dead for now. Still 96%, and they get the reset potential of the resurrection for the next fight. So a little bit interesting there, but I do understand the logic to it.
I actually like that decision. V was just playing around the health pack, just hidden from everybody by the lunch stand, and then when players fell, I don't know whether he felt like he couldn't get a really value resurrection out, or whether he was a little bit late and just couldn't get to the right area, but deciding to use it for this fight is also fairly good. Waffletastic though dies, and he had the pulse bomb.
It's time to res if you can bring them both back. There's the res right there, followed by the barrage to keep everyone alive. 2 tanks now down or desuited for LG Evil, as Waffletastic on the cleanup takes down Jacob Voss. V goes down, but his duty has been done. A few remain. Train trying to bring this back, will hit a nice pulse bomb onto Shiny, but Waffletastic going to chase him down. Meanwhile, they flip the point back over. But here comes the remainder of LG Evil.
And the self-destruct sat in the top window. Doesn't actually catch anybody, but in comes the sound barrier here for CLG. Avast's got one to reply with, but doesn't quite catch Rob 420 in time. And takes a huge amount of damage from those rockets of hydration. He's going to fall. Super's still got his Primal Rage where he can try and stall for a little while, but this fight is going the way of CLG.
Well, they're going to stagger the stall. They wanted to put in the self-destruct to get everyone off the point. Then Super pops his Primal Rage. He's going to keep them off the point too. They have flipped it back over, and now they're getting the kills they need to close out this stage. Hydration and down. The combo now hit. The 4 remaining on the ground have to do yeoman's work. Can they find the kills they need? But Discord is going to be so brutal for them to try to deal with this. Mikado is able to take down Rob. Miso a little late to the party. LG Evil showing they picked this map for a reason.
Signs of life definitely from LG Evil as they make it 2-1, but it's a long road to taking this map and going up 2-0 in the series. They still have to win another two stages, and we're going to be back to Control Center, where it felt like they were probably going to have their best chance wiping the floor with CLG, but CLG's more tanky compositions have actually been played really well. Waffletastic on the McCree has been getting a lot of value out of that pick that you don't see too often in this meta, and Hydration as well was going ham on the Roadhog early on.
I just want to test it, get high noon, and go up on the perch. I believe I call it the highest of noons. It's one of my favorite things to see. It rarely works, as high noons are very difficult to actually land now. But it's so important that CLG has shown that they aren't just a fair mercy before on the ground, that they can run different compositions. I think it should worry some teams that CLG is not as one trick as maybe some people thought. Super getting very aggressive. I think this is when he shines the most. He is just firing through, barely holding up that shield, which means they will win the shield battle, able to dodge the charge, and now Shiny finds himself dead. Both Reinhardts go down.
Jake's taking the battle against Mikado on the low ground. He's been displaced completely, and Jake's trying to reconnect with the rest of his team, but Hydration keeps throwing out right clicks and hooks, and eventually he's going to reconnect with the rest of LG Evil. But it's taken a long time for him to get back over there and add his damage into the mix, and in the meantime, CLG's got all this position on the point.
Well, 5 still remain for LG Evil, and they will try to get in here. I do think Super needs to be as aggressive as he normally is, but they are just discording him every time he drops that shield. Very hard to be aggressive and purple at the same time. A charge will negate the shield, and Waffletastic finds 2 with his Deadeye. A counter visor is coming in right now, looking for more, being largely negated. The Transcend will make sure that no damage comes out. There goes the whole hog. Train adds in some late, but very late indeed. He will find himself down as well. LG Evil being very scrappy here, but they don't have the numbers to bring this back as much as they need, so 35 on the point and counting.
Super scrappy. They commit the nano boost there after the 2 went down from the Deadeye. They had the option just to disengage and go for the next fight, but they've chosen not to repeatedly. And almost 50% on the board for CLG. The advantage, well, I mean, the next fight could well come down to an Earth Shatter here or there. Both of these two Reinhardts have been just playing inside each other's minds this whole time. Jedi mind tricks.
The Rhine games will commence as Shiny and Super face off on the center of the points. First one to blink will be the one who goes down. There goes a sound barrier giving everyone that. A 3-man shatter does take down Train, and Avast is the follow-up there. They do get a couple of kills. Viet will follow as well as Shiny. Able to get a lot done with that shatter. Still fighting on the point, but it does feel like LG Evil is just gonna get bullied off yet again. They're down to it.
A really nice flank from Hydration, manages to get the hook onto Super, completely removes his shield right out of there, and iShiny can land a fat Earth Shatter, knocks everybody to the ground, and they pick up the fight on the back of it. 90% now as well, and they still have a couple of ults to work with. Specifically, V's Transcendence is going to be up for the next fight, but they've made some big composition changes over here, and they're using this nano boost onto Super as well.
Well, too, because the Nano Boost doesn't do anything with it. Waffle-tastic able to D-suit train with the Deadeye. They do take it back, but for how long? Super just shatters right into a shield. The Transcend will come out, and Waffle is cleaning up. McCree in these odd man situations is an absolute monster. Jake's so focused on he does finally get him, but at what cost? As he and Avast both fall, Counter Logic Gaming flips it back over. Lijiang Tower will be going the way of CLG.
Really well played by CLG. They look impressive and proving as well that they're not just a one-trick Pharah Mercy team. Like, the Pharah Mercy is very good, I'm not going to deny that, but they've certainly got the capability to go toe-to-toe with other teams, particularly going triple tank v LG Evil is something that you can brag about.
It's so important for them, I think, overall, because for a long time, the perception of them is, well, they're good, but they just run Pharah Mercy. Even coming into this tournament, that was the argument that they wouldn't be able to upset Immortals, is because, well, they just run the one thing. So I think it's really good for them overall. And yeah, in an odd turn of events, they've each won each other's map. For most of this tournament, teams have been holding their home ground with the occasional upset, but this one is flipping it all on its head.
And it definitely could flip on its head with the next map as well, because I thought Eichenwald was kind of one that would be split a little down the middle. CLG have proven that they're actually very good at that map, and LG Evil looked a little susceptible to the dive when they were running against Cloud9, but Cloud9 kind of threw the curveball of the Sombra in there as well, which I think shook them a little bit, and in general, it's a very strong map for LG Evil's playstyle. But yeah, that's going to be the next map coming up, and that's CLG's map pick, and we're at 1-1 in the series.
LG Evil has looked pretty good on Eichenwald. I really liked the kind of defense that they pulled out yesterday, where they just went in the corner and made teams come to them and got a lot of damage and ran very tank heavy. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going to happen here, because I also think Eichenwald is a great Pharah Mercy map too. So this one will be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that after this, we're going to Volskaya, of all things. Haven't seen any Volskaya so far. And then I hope it goes to 5, because I want to go to Dorado. Dorado has been one of the most enjoyable maps to watch in this entire tournament.
Dorado has also been one of the maps that CLG has been banning, despite the fact that I think it would work reasonably well with the playstyle that they've been showing. But LG Evil also came out with a mammoth hold when they were playing against Cloud9 and just stole it away in the final moments. That entire series was ridiculous, but especially Dorado was kind of insane. So that will be an amazing map if we get there. But Volskaya, yeah, kind of coming out of nowhere, but these assault picks, I always feel like the teams that pick them must have some kind of strategy or plan, but Rise Nation kind of threw that one out the window for me when we looked at the semi-final when they were playing against CLG. They picked Hanamura into CLG and then didn't really show that much, and CLG just kind of took it in their stride.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see. I'm trying to figure out trends and rhymes or reasons for some of these map drafts, but then as soon as I think I figured something out, then the next day they just counterpick it. Like LG Evil did nothing but pick control maps the first day, then today they did nothing but ban control maps very early on in the early part, and now they're picking control maps again. I really am starting to think that they're just messing with me. I mean, that's where my ego is. I think it's all about me, of course.
They're happy just to play random maps, but they're just coin flipping and thinking, oh yeah, this one will really mess with hexagrams, so let's pick this.
Yeah, clearly. There's no other reason for it. There can't be. There is no rhyme or reason to it. All right, we will load into Eichenwald, which I feel we've seen a lot of this tournament. Teams have been able to ban out maps and pick whatever maps they want, and Eichenwald is definitely much more in favor. And it was an odd map because even after it was released, teams just shied away from it for the longest time.
It's one of the maps that, particularly when it first came out, looked incredibly uneven in terms of the defense winning way more than the attack did, both on the first point and on the last point. But teams have, well, they have made some adjustments to the map as well, so I don't want to just say that it was teams figuring it out, but I think they also have figured out like the best ways of attacking the last point. It's still pretty difficult to crack. So is his first point, and can be at times.
Well, this was but this was a map that Mei could just dominate you on, right? On first point, right? So they changed the room where she used to hang out in and wall you off, so now you can flank that room. And then they changed last gate so that you can actually go through the broken gate rather than it rebuilding itself miraculously. So I think those changes are really smart. Defense already out on the field. It looks like they're running a little bit of dive. What do you think of what we're seeing from both teams?
This has been the strategy of LG Evil to deal with the Pharah Mercy. They've been playing the defense. They're running this 2-2-2 kind of dive position where they have the double hit scan. Train and Jake gonna be trying to focus down D as he comes into the thing. It's always difficult when you're looking at a Mercy, because I know the guy that's playing it is a guy, but it's a girl.
Yeah, I mean, I try to just use whatever pronoun comes to mind, and I'm sure one day it'll get me in trouble. A dive-in will go deep into Mikado, who got discorded early on. Train able to finish off that kill, so the healing cut in half, but they did have to pay Super's life for it. V now in a rough spot of not having his Pharah and will fall very shortly after. Miso gives up his Ghost, goes off of the edge. That was about as good of a defensive dive as you can happen, and they found two who were lurking around the corner, just dove in on them. I think CLG is very vulnerable to that because they run the Pharah Mercy combo so separately from the rest of the team, more than any other team does.
Yeah, definitely, and Waffletastic's going to have to find a really nice flanking route behind, I think, and try and put a lot of pressure on Jake if they want to get maximum value from this, and that's what they're doing at the moment, just putting the pressure in the Hunting Lodge. The Inhydration coming up over the top as well. Control this guy for now, and they've found some really early picks. Waffletastic finding two in the back lines as well.
Well, they lost to Vost extremely early to a Rocket too, so again, losing both supports, that has been a theme of this series so far, and you just can't do anything about it. All you have now is hope to stall it out. A Vost will join the party very late. A Pulse Bomb will desuit Miso, so still not quite over yet as they're trying to bring a little bit back here, but now all off point except for a Vost. It's a Vost and Baby Diva. I don't have high hopes for this.
Rob420 just slinging in a couple of orbs, but eventually just has to sack his own life in. They have captured this first checkpoint. That wasn't too hard for CLG. They kind of got battered on that first push, but only took them a couple and not too much time, and now they're in control of the high ground on Castle as well.
They're being punished for trying to get back in because they gave up everyone. They gave up a lot of feed into the ultimates, and now they're not going to be able to get to the high ground that you want. However, it's only Miso up here, so they might be able to bully them off of the high ground. It looks like they will because they're just going to roll 6 into the 2. Hydration trying to get rocks in, but not so far. The battle for the high ground is in full effect right now.
Vol putting a bit of damage onto D, but can't quite find him actually. The dodging coming out of the Mercy. Barrage used as well. And Tactical Visor on top. It's not finding too much at the moment, but all of the kills have already been delivered. Back to the spawn queue for you guys.
Jake hasn't really had the best of visors thus far, but they do take down Waffle, who was trying to get back to spawn. So now, after feeding a lot onto that first point defense, LG Evil in a strong position here on second point. They're not going to hold far forward on the choke. I think that's largely because the cart's already passed it. They could get flanked by that combo, but both tanks evicted from high ground now as the tank battles do commence early on the point. Miso took a lot of damage. Will just bust out the self-destruct so he can get himself a new super suit, but hey, why not get 2 kills while you're at it?
Oh, unfortunately, Super's Winston bubble was down, and it was already on the floor, cracking, disappeared just as the self-destruct went inside of it, and they managed to get 2 picks, and LG Evil are going to be routed. The CLG payload advances. Robin and Vast have still got their ultimates, so they can definitely recontest this one, and they'll have a decent fight, but V really hasn't had to invest his Resurrect in any of these so far.
No, not yet, and that has to be still at the top of the mind of LG Evil. They have to know he has it. The only reason Miso self-destruct is because he got Pulse Bomb, so here comes the sound barrier to initiate. They jump in. V already down. Resurrection now off the table as Jake looks for a little bit more. Jake finds a little bit more. Another headshot onto Hydration. He has taken out the combo all by himself. Not done yet. Will find Shiny too, and into the moat. So ZB and I have had conversations. What do you think's in that moat? What do you think's down there?
It's just a river, man. It's just a river. I think it's just the castle that they were trying to defend themselves from Omnix. I know if Omnix get wet, then their electronics are going to break. So there's nothing creepy down there, man. It's just water.
But it's a, like, isn't a river around a castle called, like, it's a moat, because they've clearly built a bridge. I don't know. Alright, so no one ever agrees with me. Hydration able to take down Train and Jake. That is most of the damage for LG Evil all the way down already. And now it is going to be tough sledding for LG Evil to be able to hold on. Shiny will go down in turn. Hydration tries to finish this out, but he's barraging from a mile away. Meanwhile, the ground getting littered with CLG bodies, and it's a bloodbath down there, Sideshow.
It definitely is. Hydration still raining rockets from above, but he's going to get slowly peppered down. LG Evil have been much better at defending this portion. Now that they've got a bit more of a split advantage as well. They were taking the fight close to the gate at the beginning, and that's super close to the CLG spawns. And now CLG have actually made some composition swaps as well. D moving over to the Zenyatta, and they've now got a Genji on the field.
Yeah, they do speed boost everyone back into that position. It looks like CLG does not even want to engage this high ground just yet. They want to take the long way around on the stairs. Train is going to go in deep, finds Mikado with the pulse bomb, but Miso again takes down Train, Rob, Avast, all down. That self-destruct could be very bad for LG Evil, and it will be. There is nothing left to fight except Vol in his mech. Demeched and deleted. They will push this towards second, but LG Evil does not give up anything for free. They're going to fight again.
Self-destruct, it's normally a zoning ultimate, but Miso's been finding picks with it repeatedly. Hydration on the Genji as well, putting pressure on Avast, as LG Evil are determined to keep stalling this cart out. Rob invests his Transcendence as well. Avast also has a sound barrier if he manages to get back in with them. And he's there, uses it as well, so both support ults used here just to stall it at the second checkpoint, by time for their spawners.
It's not going to show up in the kill feed, but Mikado was out of that fight because he got booped off the ledge, had a lot of his time up, but Dragon Blade will come out, but Jake gets the better of that, able to tactical visor him down. Still 4 remain for CLG as they continue this push. Mikado, who did not go down to the boop, rode his way back up, was going to get in on the action, and it does look like they're bullying them out, but still, there's a couple people back on the cart, a lot of DPS. This has been a scrappy series by far, and this is nuts. It does seem like CLG, or LG Evil rather, is going to find enough kills to bring it back. Of course, the defender's advantage, they will prevent second point from being captured. I don't even know what to say.
I really thought that CLG were going to be able to turn that. There was a point where they had committed iShiny and Miso, and it looked like there was nobody really doing enough damage to contest them. But Jake's been having a hell of a game, I think. He was almost single-handedly responsible for their switch over from the Pharah Mercy to the Genji and the Zen, I think, because he was deleting them from the sky. And that's not, I mean, Soldier 76, you're supposed to be, in a sense, a counter to the Pharah Mercy, but it's not as easy as just clicking on them.
No, you need the Zen with you. It's always baffled me that people say, Jake, just, you know, or 76, deal with a Fair Mercy combo. It's like, you know, that's 1v2, right? You know that, like, those are what those numbers mean. So you need a little bit of help from your friends. They got it there. Jake, he's so streaky. At times, he's one of the best DPS in the world, but he was rather quiet on the previous maps, didn't have giant moments. Does seem to be showing up now. You know, any other team, I'd say they're not going to run this composition, but LG Evil runs some weird stuff. They are the offense, though, so I don't know if they're going to run super on the Reaper of all things, but yeah, it looks like they're just messing with us. Defense looks pretty standard defense for CLG.
Yeah, and defense has been where they've really made their mark on Eichenwald, so although LG Evil held them really well, and held them before the second checkpoint, which is a feat in and of itself, CLG have been kind of ending it in similar areas of Eichenwald, because as soon as it gets into the second area, Hydration and Thee just have a field day, denying players from getting on the high ground, which means that people have to be shooting them from all the way down on the road, and they are miles up in the sky.
They really make you split your focus because, as I mentioned before, they split almost more than any other team I've seen run a Fair Mercy. They run a 4-2, meaning 4 on the ground, 2 in the sky, and they're usually very far away from each other. So it makes you really focus your attention in different ways. A halfway dive composition here for LG Evil, as Jake is going to stay on the 76. He's had such good luck against the combo, at least deterring them from areas. There's no reason to switch off of that. So far, bloodless as they rotate around. First dive in comes from Super as he's trying to get a lot of cleave. Mikado will be the first to fall as he gets discorded and leaped off.
And that is not good, because as soon as you take down Mikado, that's essentially the 4 players on the ground now have no heals, or the 3 players on the ground, because you've already deleted one of them. The and Hydration baited into the house. I don't know quite why they went down there, but Jake immediately removes them from the field, and this is going to be LG Evil storming forwards on point A.
Yeah, if you have a jump pack and wings, you don't necessarily want to fight in a room with a roof on it. I'm not a brilliant man, but that doesn't seem like the best proposition to me. That is as quick of a first cap as you can really ask for there, and a lot of it is they're just really focusing on Mikado because they understand the 4v2 strategy. That's why Mikado is getting discorded and left on oftentimes, and they're going to just concede the high ground. Super gets a little big for his britches there, and somehow Shiny gets out of there alive. Surprisingly enough, CLG able to bring this back, gets 3 kills, but there's going to be a lot of decent free push on this card.
Again, really scrappy. LG Evil kind of splitting up on all fronts and distracting CLG so that they can try and get some free push on the cart and avoid just taking a full 6v6 fight with them. And so far, it seems to be working. They've got a decent amount of ground covered already without really winning a fight. Oh, Hydration gets obliterated. He goes for the barrage, a little bit optimistic.
Also, D-Suits Miyazo Jake has turned it on to another level as Soldier 76 as he continues to look for targets. The Resurrection will come out, but counter ult should come out. Visor comes out from Jake post-Resurrection. Hydration already down out of this fight. Here comes the Transcend to keep everyone who wants to jump around the cart alive. Jake only found the one kill with that. He will eventually find, be it with a headshot, not visored. So Jake, wow, that is 4 kills for Jake in that fight. A streaky player, but man, I will take his highs any day.
Absolutely, and they're looking on great time to nail this yellow checkered box. 4 minutes left, and they really don't have to push it that far. Up to the second checkpoint, it's very unusual. The team's managed to delay there. Whoa, Hydration, was that just a single damage boosted rocket that just struck Train on the forehead?
Well, Tracer dies to a careless whisper, so it could be anything happen to Tracer there. The sound barrier will come out for LG Evil as they try to continue, but they've already lost Rob. In turn, the healing goes down for CLG. Self-destruct will come up over the top, doesn't find a great deal there, but CLG has gotten the brunt of this. However, they're flipping back and forth with Vol DMAC'd and the self-destruct going off. I don't believe that LG Evil is going to have the horses to continue this push. They've only got 3 on it. They're going to take a little bit of free push, but it should be halted rather quickly.
Large amount of time on the board. It'd be interesting to see. Oh, actually, they've managed to DMAC Misa. Waffle-tastic goes down to, was that a boot?
Yeah, I don't understand. He must not have had any abilities left, got booped, and was just completely out of stuff to use, and that's going to be the turning point as Super's going to come back in, able to take down a few. It is only the trying to stay alive. Hydration goes for the cute under the bridge, back up the other side, barrage, but only gets 1 off of it. And off of that boop of all things, and just the persistence of LG Evil, it looks like they will be taking Reichenwald.
A great play from LG Evil. They really didn't look like that was even breaking a sweat for them to dismiss them. I think they've kind of found the counter to it as well with all the pressure they've been applying to Mikado, and Jake also having a really sick play onto a sick map onto the Pharah Mercy combo a lot of the time. Both of those two things have really started to show some real cracks in CLG.
LG Evil is a very difficult team to broadcast because they never think they're out of a fight, and they want to take as many fights as humanly possible. Now, sometimes it looks really bad, like when you're just throwing bodies onto first, but they just want to fight and they want to stall out as much as possible. And in that last fight, they were down like 3 to 4 on it, got 1 clutch kill, but they will not give anything up. I think they don't really believe in retreat. And I respect that in a way, because sometimes when you retreat, you're going to die anyway. So it's like, if I'm going to die, at least I'll do some damage maybe, and maybe I'll charge my own ult. But it's a team that has always been ultra aggressive in the American style of things, you know.
Yeah, I think they were given keyboards by Luminosity that didn't have S keys on them. So they just have to go in the whole time. They were like, right, this is our coaching strategy, guys. You just have to go in all the time, hold down your W keys. You'll eventually just grind out the win. And so far, it's working out pretty well for them.
WM1 is a legit strategy. Just go and see what you can hit. I mean, also, it's nice that they can actually aim. It's helpful. So don't just WM1 at home.
True.
We're moving to Volskaya next. Have we seen any Volskaya in this tournament?
I don't think we've seen it at all. We've seen Hanamura, we've seen Temple of Anubis. I don't think we've seen any Volskaya so far, so that's going to be interesting. A lot of the teams in Europe have been favoring it for triple DPS. It's definitely a map that a lot of them are feeling much more comfortable on. Started seeing some interesting and kind of new strategies, people playing around the bunker in the middle of point A and just leaping off of it to position themselves wherever they like. Interested to see what these two teams do, though. So this looks like it's a bit of a pocket pick from LG Evil, and they're already 2-1 up in the series.
It does. It's odd. You know, they must have a certain strategy on it. I generally favor teams that run a Mercy on assault maps. I think it's such a great reset to have at the end to just sack in there, and then even when you lose to be able to bring it back, because you need those giant, wiping fights to be able to take last points. Even though the mechanics are a little bit different now than they used to be, I still think Mercy's a great pick. But since it's LG Evil's map pick, then I guess the logic today would be that Counter Logic Gaming wins this one, right?
It's counter logic, but yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that's been the style so far as well. Just people winning on other people's picks. LG Evil winning on Eichenwald and Numbani, both of the CLG picks. CLG winning on Lijiang. It's going to take some real adaptation for them to win on Volskaya, though, I think, because I don't think they'll have particularly seen that coming, even though they left it in the pool, in the map pool. They reacted perfectly fine to Hanamura, though, when Rise picked it against them.
Right, but you leave Volskaya in the map pool because you don't expect anyone to pick it, right? I mean,
Maybe.
It's one of the reasons you don't put a ban onto it, is they want to use their bans on things they expect to be picked. I don't know what to expect. This whole series has been challenging, to say the least, the way that these teams fight, because LG Evil's always been a scrappy team where it doesn't give up on fights. And then you have CLG, who's always fighting in two places at once because of the combo nature of how they run. And I would not be surprised by anything here. I want to know if LG Evil has a pocket strat here, though, because we've seen teams try to run cute things like Torb and Orisa on defense on first. You can run Torb on last in specific places. You can run a Symmetra here, although I think I'm the only person who ever roots for Symmetra.
You can run a Sombra as well on Volskaya, but we really haven't seen that coming out of LG Evil whatsoever, as far as I can tell. They use it once to just try and rush back to a point, but not in any comp.
They ran it a little earlier today when they were playing Cloud9, but that's kind of something LG Evil does, is when they see a team doing something, they're like, hey, let's do that too. Like, they like, especially Jake, when he's like, oh, that's a cool DPS thing, I'm going to go do that. And they ran it a little bit against Cloud9. So we are going to get in a game here momentarily, as Jake needs some water. It's a little, needs some hydration. Hey.
A really interesting storyline for this tournament, though, that has been interesting to see develop is not only the rise of CLG, but it's kind of been the fact that they knocked out Immortals so early on that neither C9 or LG, that were on the other side of the bracket, are going to face them in the grand final, setting up what should be, on paper, a slightly easier fight for either of those two teams. But Immortals have actually been getting the better end of both of those two when they've been clashing in recent tournaments. So you got to think, like, if they managed to squeeze it past in the quarterfinals, where they were almost so close to a comeback, could they have potentially taken the grand finals as well? CLG might have just done LG Evil a massive favor by taking them out in the quarters.
Well, I think I mentioned it yesterday, and I wasn't even looking at the seedings that we had, but I said teams 1 and 8, there's not a whole lot of divide between them. And then teams 1 and 8, looking back at our seedings, were Immortals versus Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was proved right there that there's not a huge divide amongst most of the North American teams. I mean, of course, Rogue is on their own planet right now. They're French-Korean. I'm not sure that they're North American at this point. But really, the scene has been wide open, and there's a lot of teams that are retooling. There's some old guard still in it. I'd count Immortals as old guard now. Just yesterday, they were the young kids of Sody Pop. But now you've got CLG, and LG Evil is now becoming like kind of the middle-aged men of it. They've had a good run, but then they stumbled a little bit, looked beatable. Now LG Evil looking for supremacy. You're in the grand finals here. LG Evil up 2 maps to 1, going to Volskaya Industries.
Would be a bit of a mammoth task for CLG to come back from this, because not only would they have to win Volskaya, that was LG Evil's pick, and presumably they have some kind of strategy there, but then they'd have to win Dorado, which LG Evil had a great showing against Cloud9 on that map, and it's been one that CLG have been kind of dishing out as well. But Volskaya first, one step at a time here.
Did they have a great showing against Cloud9?
I think they actually had a good showing in terms of their offense was lightning fast towards the power plant, and then once they got to power plant on defense, I mean, they conceded exactly the same, but they had a good hold themselves within the power plant area. Like, both teams failed to defend completely up until the power plant, but then LG Evil had a pretty heroic defense, and the fact that they were able to do the same to Cloud9 on the offense, so they were kind of, both teams were playing the same kind of styles and had it fairly even, I thought was a good showing from LG Evil, rather than both teams just kind of throw the game.
I mean, they did defend for 4.5 minutes on Dorado last, although I've seen 7.5-minute defenses on Dorado last. Dorado's last defense is brutal. But that is neither here nor there. These are the teams that have advanced, even by the slimmest of margins. Of course, Immortals gave CLG everything they could handle. Cloud9 gave LG Evil everything they could handle. And now we are in game 4. LG Evil on game points on their map pick on Volskaya. And I really just want to see what their offense ends up looking like. Right now, who knows, because they're on offense. Do you see anything odd from the defense?
It is a little strange that they're not playing the most mobile comp that they possibly could, or I mean, the Pharah Mercy, you said that you like the Mercy pick. The Pharah, there's such large sightlines that I can understand why they're not going for that. But Hydration might get just kind of left alone. You have to adapt and move your composition around, and Hydration just doesn't have any mobility. So he might just hang out in this bunker for the entire game.
You can run a defensive Pharah on last here. I remember a set in particular where Tavik switched to it and just crushed on defensive last with Pharah. So you do have a lot of geography to go around. This is an interesting offense. They're going to rotate all the way around to the right side, only with 3 players though. It is just a squad of 3. They're going to get aggressed upon here, still alive, but Rob then goes down. They went both supports over there and a Reinhardt. What do you make of this?
I think they were kind of expecting there to be a Pharah Mercy in play, and so they ran the double hit scan of the Soldier 76 and the McCree, and what they wanted to do was push the bulk of their team, including their tanks, around behind to create a distraction and then be able to pick off players by flanking Train and Jake from the left-hand side, but they didn't find that, and instead they reacted predictably, CLG, as in they went behind, but they just kind of crushed them. So maybe with one slight adaptation, that push could also work if they had somebody playing the point and just their tanks distracting.
Yeah, I think your first thought is probably correct, that it was generally to counter a Pharah Mercy, because now they're going to rotate to the same side, but they're sending everyone over there this time. So now it's a full 6, they're going to take the high ground. This is a lot of times what Volskaya devolves into, high ground versus high ground standoff. Shiny is creeping on the bottom, looking for a leap-in moment to try to get above, but they don't really need to aggress. The onus is on LG Evil.
That's true. Super dropping down to the point has just kind of exposed himself. Vol's trying to peel, but just can't do enough with the defense matrix. Train, thankfully, has found a pick, so both main tanks are down for both sides, but Hydration's kind of shown himself now, and here comes the tactical visor from Jake, but Waffle-tastic with the high ground just completely denies that.
But every pick here for the offense is very important. The trades do favor the offense in this map just based on the spawn points. They will put a self-destruct up top. It will force V to the low ground, and Jake is there to clean him up. Sound barrier forced out here for Counter Logic Gaming as a self-destruct of their own goes off the point. Both sound barriers are down, but Waffle able to find Rob in the backline. They are now reinforcing the early picks that they lost in the fight as Counter Logic gets back to full force here, and there's still only 4 on the point for LG Evil as they look to reinforce.
They're going to have this nano boost up now as well. Oh, there goes the McCree, the Deadeye. He's getting battered around a little bit, but still find the pig on Ice Shiny with a little bit of help from Jake. Still got this nano boost to work with, rather just about getting this nano boost to work with. They could try and pair it with Jake or put it on Super as people try and recontest, but
you don't need it.
The more, no, they need it at the moment, and the more players that CLG throw in here, the worse they're looking for the point B defense.
Yeah, Mikado should probably just be jumping off the cliff there, but he will instead let Train put an end to his Lucio life. And it's a snowball-y kind of thing, right? It reminds me a little bit of King's Row, where even if you trade a little bit, the offense will eventually get there. You will eventually have the lead, because this walk back from Volskaya defensive spawns is insane.
Look at how Shiny's hanging out here as well. Just chilling like a gorilla villain.
My tactical visor is
up on the robot arm, waiting for them to come in. There's no way they're expecting this as well. LG Evil are not look here at all. He's going to get some really early cleave damage and then still be able to disengage. Oh, he's just looking at Rob 420.
I've never seen this before. It looks like he's even glitched out. His model is glitched out. He's just surfing up there. The map is trying to kick him off of there, and it doesn't.
Well, he's going to engage in now. Didn't quite get what he was looking for, I don't think, but Hydration finding an early pick and uses the whole hog as well. Oh, also finds the hook, and Rob bites the dust. Vol as well, just sacking himself off into the water, the depths of Volskaya, and they're going to reset.
Yeah, I think that's one of the kill lines in the game, actually. Like, if you fall off in King's Row, it's died to the unloving void. In this one, it's like the icy waters of Volskaya, so... the environmental deaths are funny. Right now, LG Evil has a great window. They have a lot of ultimates, nearing 5 on the point, and they're going to have an Earth Shatter, and there's really not a counter for the Earth Shatter if they can crack the bubble. The bubble's the only thing going to keep them alive, and also spacing, and you see how spread out this defense is. They do not want to clump up for a Shatter. The hook comes down, but Hook 2.0 unable to take down Jake, and now they find themselves in a terrible position in this room. Ults being popped all around. 2 kills so far for LG Evil.
Oh, this is perfect for LG Evil as well. They baited them in and instantly took those 2 picks. Hydration just slightly overextends, gets really punished for it. And now they're in a decent position. Super's also still got his Earth Shatter that he could try and use to clear things out. They've got 2 ticks. They've really got to be fast to get back on this point. A lot of ultimates that he can use to stall out, but Super could get something great. That's 2 of them on the floor, instantly going to pick those guys up. That's a lot of their stalling taken out.
That's it. That's gotta be it, unless this is the best Lucio skate of his life. He gets Helix down. Rollerblades do not prevent against explosives. Wow, that is a pretty start. I mean, there was nothing really special of that. They just got their ultimates better and just were able to snowball it. Maybe they have a pocket defense here.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, LG Evil certainly look comfortable on this map, though.
Yeah.
Particularly when they were attacking there, I liked the play. I think they deliberately put the 200 HP players in, just kind of dancing around, seeing if Hydration would go for a hook, because they know that they've always got that insta peel of Vol's defense matrix that's just gonna eat it straight out of the barrel of the gun. So it doesn't even matter if they get hooked and then they pull Hydration out. They were all playing on the high ground from CLG, so it was going to be really difficult to draw any of them down, but Hydration just pokes his head out, drops down, and they're able to chain that into a couple of really easy kills that open up the fight.
I mean, he hit the hook, but because of the ledge and sightlines, was able to actually bring Jake down to ground level. And then he went into small pack room, and you're not getting out of there alive. The entire team knows you're there. So that really opened it up, and then the D-Bug went in to try to save him. I don't know. Maybe it was a bait, but right now they're trying to show that they're playing certain heroes, so that's why you had to jump off from Sombra and Orisa. The next level mind game would just still be run Sombra and Orisa.
Yeah, it would. At some point, that's going to be different for the metagame, isn't it? Just jump off with your exact same composition, and they'll just assume you're not running it.
No, I mean, even in chat, they mentioned strat revealed, and Jake is on the Sombra. He's staying there. So that is
double bluff.
Yeah, exactly. I'm interested to see it. So, like I said, I don't think you really pick into assault maps unless you're practiced on them, comfortable on them, and maybe have a unique strategy. Unique strategy in this variation of the LG Evil defense is going to be Jake's Sombra.
I like this as well, because they're going to be playing around the health pack room almost completely, and they've got the Reinhardt there as well, so it's going to be well defended. The question is, who's actually going to play on the point? If it's going to be Super, they could bait him in pretty aggressively. Jake going for a bit of poke, 20%. That EMP is going to build so fast.
Jake just needs to dodge hooks. He has to play in the vein that Complexity used to play this too. I believe it was Nicholas. It's either Nicholas or Torque, where they would just play very, very safe. They're only playing for EMP. Same line of attack now taken for the CLG roster as they take the high ground. They will just jump down on it. Jake has to be careful. He's running around invisible, trying to get back to the health pack. Still bloodless so far. A lot of damage has been put on, but that is the first kill. Super able to take down Hydration. Train does die in turn to Shiny, and again, the offense is always going to be in a better position here when the trades start coming. Those are a lot of trades that came in.
Oh, I'm really surprised that they actually... Oh, there goes the EMP, but it's going to be too little too late, and this positioning was so far out. Oh, they could have saved that for point B as well. Maybe they just want to switch the composition completely and realize that it was slipping through their fingers. But no, it looks like Jake's going to respawn on the Sombra anyway. But the thing that I didn't like from that comp and the positioning from them was that they had all of their players defensively grouped up in a death ball in the health pack room, but then they had Train over the other side on Soldier 76. And the idea is, if they get dived, then Train can just pepper them from the back end. But iShiny just went over there and completely removed Train from the fight. If he'd been playing on the Roadhog instead, they would have had a much better death ball.
I completely agree. I actually thought the strategy was to save the Sombra ult for a second, because first point is kind of a losing proposition. It's very difficult to defend at first point. Now the fracas has begun with a giant rotation from CLG all the way around the back. They've taken interesting angles this whole game. Waffle-tastic will fall to Vol, though, and that already nerfs the chances of being able to take last. You need the cleanest fight possible. Earthshatter will knock down a couple, able to clean up Mikado as well now. Still back and forth, but this looks like LG Evil will get the better of it. And I think they're going to try to stagger here. I can't imagine these two get out alive.
No, the throws himself into the ice. And they got to reset. They got both the support ults to work with, along with a whole hog and a self-destruct. But those are going to be a little difficult to get value out of, other than the support ults.
Take note, everyone, in my competitive games, Tracer's super viable on defense on Volskaya. Stop telling me otherwise. Jake is even running it. Alright, so Jake is going to have 90% on his pulse bomb, going to charge super fast. They will also have self-destruct, which can be decent enough on this map. Mostly looking at the offense here to see how they want to aggress. I'm a little surprised that Waffle is staying on this McCree. It might just be to deal with Jake, as they will take this point over. Mikado going down early. I almost want to call the fight right now.
And will they invest any more of their ultimates into it, though, or will they just try and force as many as they can out from LG Evil? They don't pop anything else other than the self-destruct, but they also don't get much out of LG Evil. They only had to use the sound barrier.
But the sound barrier is absolutely huge, because it's almost like, and you know this from the Team Fortress days, it is the Uber advantage, right? So now they know they can absolutely fight with impunity. They kind of are Ubered for a little bit of time, and they will be able to push in off of that. That was probably the precise bait they wanted. They will have a huge ultimate advantage, and unless, I think a nano into Whole Hog here could be the saving grace, just to push people off and readjust positioning.
Or potentially something huge coming out from Super if they get an early pick onto one of the supports, but Mikado's not going to let them as that sound barrier comes in immediately. Avast gets hooked as well, so Hydration finding that one. There goes the Whole Hog. A Nano Whole Hog, though, coming out from Train. They're both pushing each other back, trying to vie for position. Super also falls as he just got his Earth Shatter up. That was a nice passive play coming out from Deep, but the Jake! Oh, unbelievable pulse bomb to take down two of them in the middle of that Transcendence as well. You can't heal through that.
Yeah, they needed that too. However, a tick still will come on the board as Jake was taken out. 2 ticks now. They will probably push this back, but the progress has been made. Earth Shatter just to seal the deal knocks Miso to the ground and will take him out in short order. They're trickling back on here, but they should not be. This is over thanks in large part to the pulse bomb. That doesn't hit. That might be 3 ticks.
Absolutely. They've still got 4 minutes to work with here. Another minute and they'll have equalized the time that LG Evil set on their offense. But they were pretty fast. You can delay up for a long time on Volskaya. This is almost one of the original stall maps, along with perhaps Hanamura as well. So,
well, the spawn might as well be on the point for how close it is. That's like 10 feet away. Very easy to get back on the point. You saw a switch on a Sombra to get back on the point. You can also see Mei and D.Va switches here. Of course, you can't switch onto D.Va, and thankfully the days of double D.Va are gone. Da takes down Jake immediately, though. He'll be back in the fight momentarily. Now, Waffle going down, but that is still the only kill for this defense right now. They need another one to just feel a little bit safer. Primal Rage already popped, but it is all blue in the kill feed thanks to Hydration, who has been carrying this team even on the Roadhog, and I believe they have almost done it. The Desperation boost onto Jake, who will have to rewind through that. Self-destruct, not going to be enough. They will capture it in almost identical times.
wow, the parity between these two teams, and I kind of heard... it feels terrible to write CLG off after they've had such a strong tournament, but I really thought coming into this one, when LG Evil are 2-1 up and they're going into their map pick of Volskaya, and it's a map that you got to expect the CLG aren't as comfortable on, they have shown that they're perfectly capable of adapting, and as you pointed out, Hydration has been having a great game.
Yeah, Hydration's Roadhog has been great. It's, again, I mentioned how it's so important for CLG to show people that they don't just run Fair Mercy. It's also important for Hydration to show people that he can run more than one hero. I think back to maybe Agilities, who people thought was just a Genji, then he's shown up to, he's probably the best Roadhog in North America. You think about a lot of these people, you can't have one tricks on your team, not at a high level, because the meta changes too quickly. You have to be able to adapt to it, so a good showing regardless of results for Counter Logic Gaming.
And it looks like, again, they're going with Jake on Sombra, and that wasn't a strategy that they wanted to employ for both points. This seems like it's only for point A. Jake moved back to the Tracer and didn't save his EMP even, so they didn't even want to try it once, where they certainly could have done. So, we'll see if this works out slightly better for them this time. Have they made any adaptation? Yeah, they have, actually. They put Vol over on the Soldier 76, while Train's going to be playing the D.Va, and Vol's playing on this side rather than the other.
I think Vol's best hero is his Soldier 76. He has had some struggles on Zarya, and I think Train's D.Va is better than Vol's D.Va overall. So I think it makes sense as a switch up here if you're going to run this composition to put these heroes on a specific composition. Again, the rotation will come down to the right side, except for Shiny, who's over top just playing Guardian. Both tanks now have vacated the upper ground. It's a weird situation. Train gets hooked right away, able to get out with his life. They're playing around Pack Room. This is the entire strategy for Sombra.
And Train regenning all of that health with the health pack is giving Jake 70% ultimate already. He's building it up 80%. This is building lightning fast. And if they feel like this fight is slipping out of their hands, then Jake can just use it instantly into the back lines. The MP used that hit onto Rob and Hydration. Potential for them, but they're losing players.
There was no damage follow-up to it. I mean, he should have been able to take down the Zenyatta, who was right next to him. Zenyatta's health is mostly shields, goes down to 50 HP when EMP'd, and this is over. You can't lose this many players on first and expect to get back into it.
It's unfortunate that this strategy isn't working out for them whatsoever. They're not playing around the EMP as well as we've seen some other teams. They look like they're lacking the follow-up or they're lacking a good engage. Last time it was kind of they couldn't get Jake in a good position and they'd already lost players too early. And I feel like the Soldier 76 is probably, again, not going to be your best option if you're just playing real clumped and inside, but certainly very, very good on this sight line as Vol stares down the barrel of 97%.
And they were playing Clumpton inside, but they weren't even watching stairs. Waffle-tastic just rolled in on the stairs and flashbanged a Vost and took him out immediately. That's such a large portion of their healing already gone, and some of their mobility as well, so that's a brutal first pick. Hydration gonna look to the hero again. He's got Whole Hog at the ready here, and he will end up busting it off. Every ult, every Q has been hit here. We'll see what the wreckage comes out after this, but that's 2 kills quickly from LG Evil's defense. And I'm not quick to call maps and fights generally, but I feel so confident doing it on Volskaya. It really is easy to do.
Yeah, the defense has such an advantage in terms of the positioning. Unless you manage to get some crazy hook coming out of Hydration, or the defense gives up their positioning advantage so early on, they can take even fights and still be in a great position. They're going to have the support ult up from Mikado as well after this. And Miso and Shiny have made some swaps.
What do you think about these swaps? I don't think they have enough time to get ultimates up.
Yeah, I always wonder why your teams are switching to Zarya with only a minute left, because unless the fight is super delayed and you stay up the entire time, you're not going to get that Graviton, which is the biggest part of her kit.
Well, it helps to prevent against hooks, but the allied shield had already been used, and they knew it. Shiny went in and got hooked because of that. Then you just showed them the shield right away. A little bit quick on the trigger finger was Miso, and I think that's the one reason you're running Zarya, is so that Train can't annihilate you with Roadhog hooks. But when you use the allied shield that early, it's opening such a window, that fight's over.
And Miso switched back to the Diva as well, so obviously agreeing with your assessment of the situation that it's not going to be a long-term viable solution. And they've still got the triple tank, but they need to engage pretty quickly. Mikado's sound barrier is going to be the way that they break into this one. Hydration already finds the pick on a Vast. He was at 96% as well. Has the potential to come back into the fight and use the sound barrier, but how many players is he really going to hit? People are dropping all over the place here for LG Evil. They're crumbling in the final moments.
Did Waffle-tastic just get Earth-shattered, wake up, and still Deadeye someone? I cannot believe what I just saw. In desperation, sound barrier will come in. Vol will pop tactical visor, but he is met by a bevy of tanks. It is just super. Who gets discorded and thus deleted. Jake trying to bring this back, but the delay game cannot be that strong. Skya, second point, will be captured in overtime for CLG.
That's crazy. I can't believe that they managed to cap that on the final push as well. The insta pick onto a Vast was honestly pivotal. Again, Hydration coming out with a huge play. Manages to find the hook onto Lucio really early on, and that denies them the sound barrier that could have kept people alive, and that point stalling for way longer. Even some time on the point there and some ticks upwards would have been great and would have set them in a good position. But to capture all 4 points after 2 rounds is perfect for Volskaya.
I have to watch the VOD, and hopefully our observer got some of it on cam, because Waffle-tastic was in Deadeye position, John waning towards the point, got knocked to the ground by Earthshatter, and then the Deadeye kill icon came out when he got woken up. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work, but I'm willing to rewatch it. You're right, though. 254 here for Volskaya, 2 points. This has to
That's
be
tough.
This has to be one of the best offenses they've ever put together.
Looks like for the moment they're thinking about running the same composition where they had this double hit scan coming out from Vol and Jake. Train potential deadly on the Roadhog. He has had some really good games, particularly on the Tracer, but that Roadhog is also really deadly from Train. But Hydration's been the man to watch on the Roadhog so far. He's been running away with this one, and they're going to have to get a lot of value out of Jake and Vol, I think, to make this work.
Now, I've seen Jake run wild on assault maps before on McCree, but it's generally when Train is just keeping him inside the Matrix, where he can just do whatever he wants. And he even gets Nano Boost. I think back to Temple of Anubis. He's rolled through maps on McCree with that setup, but they're running something a little bit different, not going to have the protection, but it would not surprise me at some point to see an Electric Cowboy come out from them.
Well, they need to... They're poking for now. They're kind of setting up on the right-hand side from their perspective. See if they can bait a couple of players in. They've got the high ground, so that gives them a decent position to spam from. But unless they can kind of isolate an individual, Super's seeing if he can bait them to the point now, and Jake has just destroyed iShiny.
Well, iShiny generally isolates himself, and he's been playing with fire all day like that. Super will go down to Hydration, so it is now 5v5. Again, though, trades will favor the offense as Hydration gives his life up in turn. 5v4 as it goes down, a demeching does occur. It should be putting a little bit of pressure on this point, but they're holding into large pack room, trying to just get more trades, and Jake comes in, finds Mikado. Shiny will get back from the luxury of dying so early, and they're staying a little bit further back. I like this that Waffle and The are not necessarily trying to engage, they just want to stall.
They're trying to get as much time as they possibly can. Jake had an opportunity there to kill The multiple times, but couldn't quite pull it off. And CLG look like they're in between two minds. They're disengaging. It looked like they wanted to go for it there, though.
Yeah, but I think the risk outweighs the reward so much. Now you only have to defend for less than 2 minutes, which is likely 2 points, 2 pushes rather, for Volskaya last, and we'll see if I'm correct. There's 2 nano targets you could put this on right now. Well, I mean, a bevy of them. But when they've won assault maps in Blitzkrieg fashion, it has been Electric Cowboy. And Jake has his ultimate ready, Rob has his ultimate ready. The nano target is going to be extremely interesting to watch here from LG Evil.
1 minute 30 as well, so they won't get that many fights out of this one. Super putting himself in a forward position. Hydration, trading hooks there with Train, but it's gonna be the Nano Visor as it comes out, as Jake was already picked by some spam. The poke trade battle now as the Sound Barrier comes out as well from Avast, but this is just getting mulched here.
Yeah, this is absolutely over. The early picks that took out Jake maybe thwarted some of their plans. Vol did get a kill off of that Nano Visor, but you invested 2 ultimates and essentially got ultra shut down by Miso's Diva right in his face. Really good defense there, and last push, or we're going to map 5.
This is a crazy performance by CLG as well. They've adapted to every curveball that's been thrown at them this entire tournament. Huge plays in the quarterfinals. Then they overcame Rise Nation, who tried to take them to an assault map. LG Evil doing the same kind of thing, and they've only got 30 seconds to prove that it was a good shot.
Well, if they lose this, it will be a throw because Sound Barrier should keep them alive. They have huge advantage in ultimate. Super might be the hero to save the day. If he can get it, Earth Shatter Deadeye will be the perfect follow-up for it. So far, taking this very slow on defense. They will stagger out the Primal Rage. Shiny ends up back there. They will use the zoning Cowboy here as Jake saunters in behind Super. A self-destruct goes up behind. No one caught by that. Never mind. Rob found out of nowhere.
And he was at 78% as well, just trying to keep his team healthy from the backline. Supers found an Earth Shatter. They get the pick of the Hydration. If they can slow this one down, who knows what could happen, but they're finding a couple of picks. Train is the guy that they need to keep alive, though, and he's only on half health. There's a lot of healing been removed thanks to the pick, but that charge takes out Avast as well. All the heals removed now.
Jake trying to do it all by himself. I was going to say you can't slow down a fight when Zenyatta's in it. Jake is back in the mix here, as is Train. They will demech, and now they've got bodies on the point. Rob will rejoin this fight. The Nano comes down onto Train, who's going to hold Waffle-tastic away. This is insanity right now as Train continues to go on. A clutch Transcendence pull off will keep the remainder of CLG alive, but all the people have reinforced for LG Evil. They have a full 6 on this point. The kill feed is blood red right now as they look to bring this back. It has been going all LG Evil thanks to heroics from Jake, who got 4 kills in this fight to keep it alive for his team. Still, one more fight will come in. Hydration puts himself in the ice block just to stall it out as he waits for teammates to come back in.
Tactical Visor used from Waffle-tastic up top, but the Sound Barrier coming out from Avast, and that keeps him safe. They've got the Mei to try and stall things out as well. And they've got so much time from the point. They only need to get a couple of picks. Again, the Deadeye, but this time it gets absolutely destroyed. The Fire Strike comes out from iShiny, and he eats it. Still manages to demech Miso from that. That's a lot of Storm been taken out of the fight. And CLG players are still dropping all over the field. That Fire Strike takes him out. Oh my god, they're gonna be able to get it. What am I watching, Hexagrams? This is unbelievable.
Now entering Volskaya.
Crazy stuff. Assault maps genuinely do produce some of the most epic games, particularly from a spectator point of view. What a crazy map.
I've never been happier to watch a draw in my life.
Yeah, that was crazy, but what a play by LG Evil. I mean, that was fantastic that they're able to pull it out just in the dying moments there.
Jake went full hero mode when they had nothing left. You had just mentioned they need to slow down the fight, and I was going to counter with, you can't slow down a fight against a Zen, because you're just going to discord and everyone's going to die quickly. And then Jake just put a bullet in his head, and that was it. He got 3 kills very quickly, was able to get on the point, then he dead-eyed, and they got reinforcements in. I mean, this is how LG Evil beat Cloud9. They just clutch it. Someone has a miracle play, and then everyone else comes in, and it could be Jake, could be Train, could be Super, could be a multitude of heroes. And I mean, I've never been that entertained by Volskaya. I don't think. That was amazing.
Yeah. That was fantastic, and you're bang on with LG Evil just clutching it time and time again throughout that series in the semi-finals when they played against C9. It just seemed like they were pulling these plays from absolutely nowhere, and always at the last moment as well, just like we saw in Volskaya there. They have this depth within them that's I think the result of the teamwork and the cohesion that they have within them, that they're able just to pull things out when it absolutely matters.
Well, just as we catch our breath, and you know, it's going to take me a bit to do so. I'm going to watch this match as soon as it gets posted. I swear I am. We're going to Dorado next. So if we do need a tiebreaker map, we're going to go to Nepal after. So if CLG is able to take Dorado, that means that we've exhausted our 5 maps, and we're going to go to our final tiebreaker, which will be going to Nepal. Just to keep everyone abreast of the situation. We're not going to figure out the draw yet. We're going to move on. And if we need another map, Nepal it goes to. Nepal, by the way, has been LG Evil's worst control map for a long time.
It has. They were able to come out with the win fairly conclusively when they played against Splice. I don't believe it was featured in their game against C9 at all. But Dorado's, of the 2 maps that we were going to go to next, I think the most interesting one for me would have been Dorado. I'm super interested to see how these 2 teams clash there. The styles. CLG have been banning it as well, which I was just so confused by at the beginning of this tournament, because I think it could be a really solid map for them, particularly this first point. Used to be Farah Central.
It is, but I think second point gets a little rough for Farah because you're trying to take that high ground, and there's usually a diva up there. You can't get anything done. There's a diva 76 up there, so you need stuff to be able to dislodge them, and even the concussion blast sometimes isn't enough to be able to boop them off the edge up there. So second point can be difficult for the combo. I think last is also a little bit rough for the combo, especially on offense trying to push in. So there really is only the one great point, in my opinion, for Farah. I wish there were more. I mean, I think you can run Farah everywhere, but that's just me. So I do understand the banning out of Dorado.
This is crazy because when you think back to how LG Evil performed on Dorado as well, they were running the dive compositions for the majority of the beginning of the map, and then they got kind of stalled out a little bit towards the end by C9. I think they held for something like 3 minutes, and then we were just able to push it right at the end. But they looked reasonably good, but both of those 2 teams were playing the same kind of styles into each other. It was much more of a mirror matchup, whereas it wasn't so much one team playing like a very... I feel like CLG have really been setting the pace of this tournament. Every team that comes up against them has to deal with their style of play rather than playing into their opponent's game.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Let's see. I think that both these teams can play both a tank-heavy style and a dive style, so it's just going to be which one they want to bust out, because I think Roadhog can be very good on this first point, can be crucial to holding Archway, and you can run like 3 or 4 tanks and hold Arch, or you can run a dive defense, but I think if you're going to run dive defense, you have to play it like Rogue, and play dive defense right outside their spawn first, and then dive back in to get a second fight. I don't see the logic in playing dive defense and counter diving in Courtyard. If you're going to fight in Courtyard, just run more tanks.
Yeah, definitely. But from watching the teams play, from watching like how this patch has developed and the meta that's been surrounding it, whenever I've seen people play on Dorado, unless you're a really sick dive team, I tend to prefer the teams that have been running tank and playing around Arch. I feel like you have to be really good at pulling off the forwards defense when you're on Dorado, because you're putting yourself at such a respawn disadvantage beginning, and then you're taking kind of a bit of an unfavorable fight when you're trying to recontest at Fountain, that you have to be really comfortable in your dive to be able to pull that off with more effectiveness than just running the tanky comps at the beginning. But the advantage of that is that then you don't have to switch up your composition and lose all your ultimates if you want to then play dive for the second stage when they're playing defense as well.
All right, so teams are just being let know of the situation just based on, how draws work, what our tiebreakers will be. We're trying to get sides set here, offenses and defenses, as we try to go into Dorado. This is, of course, now map 5 of the CyberPower Gaming Spring Invitational. I think that's it. I'm not used to doing this kind of stuff, where I have to tell what the name of the tournament is. I have to try to do some play-by-play. We're checking to see if ZP is all right. Again, he was feeling under the weather. He's going to take a couple maps off. Maybe he'll rejoin us, maybe not. We just hope that he is okay.
Yeah, I was kind of getting worried because I thought that he was going to come back after one map, and he was complaining of like some mold potentially getting in his lungs, and he had a bit of chesty cough there. So I hope he's actually okay. Like, I hope his health is fine.
He's probably just sitting back, having something to eat, and taking the day off. Knowing ZP, he's like,
just
I'm
taking
so
it
sick.
chill.
Yeah, he's just enjoying Volskaya. He's, just chilling. Actually, no one likes casting more than ZP does, so that is definitely not the case. All right, so yeah.
But this situation is going to be really interesting. So if you've only just joined us, we are we're getting to the real business end of this grand final. This is, of course, the final series. It's CLG versus LG Evil. We've already played 4 maps, but so far the score is 2-1 to LG Evil with a drawn map on Volskaya. So if Counterlogic Gaming are able to take Dorado, we'll go to our tiebreaker, and it'll all come down to Nepal. If LG Evil are able to take Dorado, then that's it. It's game over. So it kind of does come down to this final map.
It does. Yeah, sorry, we're just waiting a little bit on some production issues as we get everything sorted. We will get you into the next map as soon as possible. And man, I just hope we did Volskaya justice. Like, that's all I really hope, because that was legitimately one of the best games of Overwatch I've ever seen. Super fun to watch, and hopefully the rest of this series. I mean, at this point, I want to go to map 5 in Nepal, right? I mean, just as much Overwatch between these teams as possible would be great.
Absolutely. The parity throughout this bracket has been pretty insane. I mean, that might be overselling it a little bit, though, because when you look at the beginning part of the quarterfinals, there were a couple of games that looked kind of one-sided. LG Evil kind of cruised through their game against Splice, and C9 against NRG. Both of those two teams, Splice and NRG, showed signs against C9 and LG Evil of life, but they certainly weren't on the level. It seems like the other teams, they couldn't quite get into it, whereas CLG have really been showing it to these tier 1 North American teams throughout this tournament.
I think a lot of it, and people look at just, it's hydration. He's going to be the Pharah. I think you could go down the list of players who have played well for the CLG team, which bodes well for their future. And Waffle, I thought I even lumped Waffle into he's just a tracer. He's a one-trick tracer, which is fine by me, because I think you can run a tracer almost anywhere now. But I think his McCree play has been extremely solid. I think Miso's Diva has been underrated, and I mean, you just can't say enough about the supports. Just across the board, this team has impressed, and I think they've gained a lot of fans today.
Yeah, certainly CLG have looked almost unstoppable when they've played against certain teams that haven't been able to abuse them. We noticed a little bit at the beginning of this series that Mikado has been under a lot of pressure, particularly against LG Evil. That's looked like a potential point of weakness. Not so much because Mikado's had bad positioning or bad play or anything like that, but just because they have that single source of healing for all the guys on the ground. And once you apply that much pressure to the Lucio, there's not that much that you can do to save yourself. Even when they've got the peel of the Diva, it's eventually going to go down, and that's all of that heals removed. And then you've only got a solo heal of Mercy.
Well, Sideshow, I'm going to use a trick from my good old days of the Gosu Gamers Weeklies, and when we have to fill time, I think the best thing to do is just sell out. So I'm going to remind people one last time while we have an extended series that we're giving away some gear. CyberPowerPC.cevo.com/giveaway. A lot of ways to enter: Twitter follows, Facebook follows, etc. But get yourself a new quad-core CPU, 7700. That's insane. Mine was brand new at like 6700. Now it's 1,000 more. I don't know what that means in actual performance, but it's more and better probably. Also giving away solid state drives from Western Digital and Corsair mechanical keyboards. Don't be a pleb like Sideshow with his membrane keyboard. Get a legitimate keyboard. I like mechanical keyboards because it sounds like you're actually being productive, even if you
Yeah,
are or
true.
not. Yeah, it's the sound of productivity.
The sound of
CyberPower,
productivity.
yeah,
As you
CyberPowerPC.
clack your WASD keys around and play video games, it's the sound of productivity.
Yeah, see? Doesn't that sound like I'm doing something? CyberPowerPC.cevo.com/giveaway. You should go there right now and enter the giveaway because tournament's almost over. Time's almost up, and you can't win if you do not enter.
That's absolutely true, and we've also got the predictions running as well. I've just taken a look at the leaderboard because that's been intriguing me all tournament. You know, it's something that analysts love to do, just as like a little mini game between themselves, is see like how many points can you get in terms of like the scores or maps or just the team that you've decided that will probably take the tournament. It's Deb_Scoot that's in the lead with 6 points, and nobody else is on 6 as well. So I thought with the amount of games that we actually had in this bracket, you know, it's single elimination. You only have 8 games, including the bronze game. I thought it was reasonable to suggest that somebody might be able to get all of them correct. But we've had a couple of upsets, and CLG making their way to the grand finals has certainly thrown that into disarray.
I'm guessing that Cloud9 broke a lot of brackets earlier with losing to LG Evil. That
True.
seemed like they probably won. I would have gotten the first upset done. I did feel that CLG could take down Immortals, just because for some reason Grim Reality refuses to run McCree, and like I think that he should, and they could really take down CLG's Barra combo, but that didn't happen. Not entirely certain what we're still waiting for, but yeah, I mean, the predictions have been kind of rough. This has been a wonky tournament. Every game has been super close. All right, so LG Evil is readying up. We'll see if CLG is ready. You know I'm happiest when I'm in game. That's all I told you in London. I'm like, you know, we're waiting for games to start. We're waiting for tournaments to start, and I like Sideshow would come to me and be like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Just put me in a game. Just get me in game. That's all I want. It's where I'm happiest in the world." And we are entering game. Thankfully, the era of overtalk is over, and we get our wish. We're going to Dorado.
We are going to Dorado, and I mean, this is the kind of situation where CLG is still under pressure. They didn't really relieve it, despite the fact that they played so well on LG Evil's pick of Volskaya Industries. They still have to perform out of their minds on Dorado, otherwise they are gonna fall second fiddle to LG Evil.
Well, I think, and I say this in a lot of tournaments, but you know, this time I truly mean it, and I'll guess which ones I didn't. Second place is still really nice for them. I think CLG has probably opened a lot of eyes. I know that I can say that I've been surprised by their performance, not necessarily just their performance, but how they've done it, the compositions that they run, the players that they've been leaning on to do so. I think that, you know, there was a lot of talk with CLG early on. They made an announcement in Vegas, which was very esportsy, and we didn't see them play for a very long time. And I think they've made, I mean, not their grand debut because they've been playing, but this is kind of a breakout moment for them. It's good to see.
They also brought in a new coach, Cuddles, who previously was with Penta. I think he's a British guy who was previously coaching Penta eSports, who played at DreamHack Winter European side that then disbanded. But I feel like that's been good for them as well. They seem to have broadened their repertoire a little bit and are only starting to really show it now. They had a couple of tournaments where they didn't quite live up to their potential, but this is definitely a team that we could see much more out of because they don't look like a one-trick team anymore.
I completely agree, and I think coaching is still in a weird place in Overwatch right now. But as a player, you have to really enjoy just to be able to play, to not have to run the strategy, and not to do all the analysis too. But we do have the map has begun. It does not look like we're going to see an aggressive defense out of CLG, who will be on the defense first. They're going to run a little more tank heavy. I think this is one of the better places in all of Overwatch where you can run a McCree. You've got a lot of space on the courtyard, and unless the team is running a very coordinated dive against you, you're going to have a lot of room to work.
Triple tank coming out from CLG along with the Zenyatta as well, so their only healing is coming out from this Orb of Harmony and Mikado, so again they've got a kind of exploitable backline if they can get into them. But LG Evil are running a triple tank of their own, so going back to metas of past, but it's still perfectly viable with this match.
Well, again, I'm sorry for the roboting, guys. There's nothing I can do about it, so just bear with me. Trust me, it hurts me more than it hurts you. And now the shield battle will begin as Super's going to go in. Running the Zarya into this. This has been the least I've ever seen a Zarya in the tournament. They lost Super. They might as well have lost the fight. Might as well back out now. They do just that. You cannot continue the slow push when you lose your Reinhardt that early.
They're going to slowly make their way around, and they're kind of banking on Train to hit a pretty good hook or put Jake in a position where he can do a lot of work up top on the balcony. But for now, they're actually playing as a big a big blob, a death ball, playing around the card, just baiting the guys from CLG to come into them, daring them to take this 6v6 fight.
I have no idea how that hook missed from the other side, but Super's able to take down Hydration. A boost does come off too. The first 2 kills will go in favor of LG Evil. Vol actually gets the boost. This is really smart. I love seeing people boost the Zarya just to convert one ult into another. Vol actually has a pretty good vanilla Zarya, where Vol has struggled. They don't notice that dot is on the card.
Oh, that was so good. That's so sneaky by me.
He doesn't make any sounds of the footsteps. Zenyatta OP for sure. They will get first point. They are going to convert it. I was going to say Vol is a very good Zarya when it comes to just pure mechanics. Shields, beam down, M1s. He has had some moments with some disappointing gravitons though, so that's going to be something to watch for in the future.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like he just loves feeding them into those defense matrices. Hello, though. Look at Jake going on the grand voyage all around. Oh, what was that helix? Connected completely onto the Zenyatta of D, removing a lot of their heals as well. And this is going to force the drop down from CLG.
What's exactly what you want is the drop down. They did lose Avast right now, so they're going to take that moment to be able to pop their own sound barrier. That should be most of the fight. Trying to get some trades out here late. Train will pop the whole hog. A little ambitious there, and that's an ult they will not have up for next fight. Vol will go down eventually to Waffle-tastic, but the kill onto Avast meant that they knew they'd have the sound barrier advantage. Conversely, coming back, they're going to have a sound barrier of their own to push in.
Yeah, definitely. And Jake's grand flank, although he was able to pick up the Zenyatta and really open that one up for his team, he was actually so far away that they were really missing his damage the entirety of that fight. All came in right at the end once it was kind of decided. And CLG taking the high ground again, that just gives them the impunity to drop whenever they feel like it. And then there they go. Hydration down onto the floor, engaging with the whole hog as well. As iShiny puts up his shield, and they've shoved them all the way back into this courtroom.
I don't think Vol will dare use his Graviton until they know that Miso is desuited or completely otherwise engaged. It is simply too dangerous to do so. Fire it! No, fire it! Nothing! Eaten up again from Vol. I cannot believe that just happened.
Why, Vol? Why do you do it all the time? He feels like he's got an opening, it seems, and they really want to commit their Gravitons in these situations, but it's just, it happens so often with him.
They might still be able to pull this back. Transcendence is forced out from as he was getting focused down by the tactical visor. Still a couple on the cart for CLG, as they do have Waffle-tastic up top, able to dodge a hook. Still very back and forth. Miso now out of the fight, taken down by Rob 420, but Waffle takes up. Jake was pressing the issue, and they're not going to get much more push as the tanks and reinforcements are now back on the field for CLG. Vol will be the last to die. Well, probably not, and they have to pull out. Yeah, your 3v6, they get out. Vol breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's such a problem as well, because although he is a good Zarya in terms of his overall play, Graviton's such a game-changing fight that you just can't afford to be like questionable with where you're placing this, and there's so many areas that you can just shove it into. We saw Hardblue do it tons of times when they were playing in the quarterfinals. Just throw it into a wall or something where the defense matrix doesn't extend.
Well, they do put Vol onto the D.Va instead, and Earthshatter comes down, does not get a whole lot. Hydration is going to respond with a whole hog, pushes everyone away. Though the anti-heals are down on a large majority of CLG, the damage has come out. That's it. LG Evil has to retreat. They're taking damage on the way out. Train gets out with his life. And I don't mind the D.Va here. You can use it to go up top, but if you're only setting your D.Va up top because they don't have another high ground tank, it's going to be 1v2. Well, Miso's not going to leave Waffle-tastic. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to get a huge 6-man flank to contest this particular high ground, but LG Evil might have to switch super off at some point. If they keep losing fights here, they need more verticality, and they've sent Train around again on a huge flank. He's going to come to the top of the courtroom, see if he can get a hook, maybe DMAC Miso or something, uses his hook. That's now on cooldown, not an option for the team, but they've got a little more ground here, and they've knocked CLG doesn't onto the floor.
Train doesn't just give me hooks. They will boost Jake. He will pop visor. Hooked and gone. Hydration takes him out. This has been a comedy of errors as far as ultimates go for LG Evil. This has been brutal.
Yeah, and CLG just still have so many ults to work with. Hydration gets hooked in. Both teams exchange the sound barriers, keeping players alive. Doesn't quite catch Hydration though as he falls. Self-destruct punk down in the middle of the road as well. Super uses his shield just to completely negate that one. But LG Evil still aren't in the greatest of positions. They have forced out both of these support ultimates. How did Waffle-tastic get 2 kills and a DMAC right in front of their face?
just because he believed. He believed in himself. Still not going to be enough somehow, as the remainder of this team will come in. The is behind the cart, but he will be taken down unceremoniously. The push continues, still waiting on 3 respawns is CLG. They have to hold a little further back. I don't think they can contest this. I don't think they should contest this. Still kind of murking around. They will jump in. Shiny comes in, as does Hydration. They get a couple kills. They're trading off 5v5, but Super proves me right. They should not have come back in. Second point taken.
And they've lost 4 players, so that opens them up for a bit of free pushing. The cart will be stalled as it just comes to this doorway that needs to be opened, so it's not like a snowball's really going to develop here, but it's given Jake and Vol a little bit of the high ground that they can try and pressure from. Some early positional advantage here for LG Evil. And Super's fairly close to his ultimate, as is Avast, so they could try for something early.
I can make the case for them pushing second because you don't really have a chance to fight anywhere else except high ground on last anyway, so I guess conceding it for free really only feeds them ults, and with how LG Evil has used ults, you can't really be too concerned about giving them ults. Right now, though, still pretty bloodless. Miso will be able to desuit Vol. Super does not know the meaning of shield, just swinging the hammer on the cart, but he finds himself all alone. All of his friends are dead, except Jake and Train still on the high ground, double teaming the rest of this. Get a couple of kills, but no more push. He finds himself alone. Now the reset comes up. This is going to be a gross push if it even occurs.
15 seconds left, and they were so split up there. The positioning from LG Evil was catastrophic as soon as they engaged that fight. They had to know that the time was ticking down, and now with only 10 seconds, it's got to be on Vol to try and touch the point. But they don't look like they particularly got much haste. He is going to be able to get their defense matrix out. They're going to force the overtime, but they're playing from inside the point. They have a lot of ults to work with, but they need to keep everyone alive.
They were unable to convert a lot of those Earth Shatters into kills. The counter shatter comes down as Hydration is put on the floor. A self-destruct comes down. Super is charged up, but he has to use a lot of that time to put shield up to save from the self-destruct. Ults coming around. Finally, some execution from LG Evil on their ultimate as Train was able to whole hog a couple down. 2 people only alive now as they try to respawn. Shiny is waiting. He knows he has a moment to be able to get back in here and possibly charge onto the point. They will get a body onto the point. Not over yet. One more skirmish.
The clutch masters of LG Evil, are they really going to do it again? They focused on iShiny really early on. Super's built up a lot of his ultimate. He's at 80% already. They demech Miso as well. That's a huge amount of peel and damage taken out of there. Super with the Earth Shatter. They put V on the floor along with Hydration Mikado. They're picking up player after player. They're going to be able to shove it over the line, surely. They've got everybody there.
I don't even understand LG Evil anymore. I mean, Shiny's going to come in, but the counter charge from Super is beautiful. They will get it to the end.
What on earth is going on? How do they pull it out every single time as the time ticks down? They had 10 seconds to make that happen, and all the rest was in overtime, and they just pull it from nowhere. Where are they getting these plays from, Hex?
I think they just realized that ults are valuable. We should try to aim them at the other team, because up until that point, it's as simple as maybe they're just trying to put on a show. I don't understand, but again, Train, the hero that Dorado needs, towards the end, his whole hog was great. I have no idea how they lived in that hallway. After the shatter came down, they were unable to convert kills. A lot of healing went down in there. Then the counter shatter, the counter plays. I always say you don't want to fight in a hallway, but that excludes LG Evil. LG Evil loves fighting in hallways.
They do seem to be absolutely excellent at taking close quarters 6v6 fights. They seem to have perfected the death ball strategy when they're running against this caliber of team, and they make it work somehow towards the end there, and they've set themselves up with a reasonably good win condition for this entire tournament.
And if you look at all the times they've had to clutch out fights, yes, Jake has had his moments, especially on Volskaya. Jake probably single-handedly won Volskaya on McCree, or at least drew out Volskaya on McCree. But earlier, going all throughout the day, it has been Super and Train, and it doesn't matter what heroes they're on. Train now is going to be on Tracer, who had a great Dorado against Cloud9. But when those two are working together, and it's kind of always been that way, this team has always been as good as their tanks let them play. And Super and Train have shown that today, and I don't know where they dig deep to find it. They looked terrible on second point for a while. I don't know where they found that.
I thought they were going to get full held on second because they were just throwing themselves into it again and again, just playing on the road ground. CLG would drop and wipe them completely. But now they have to deal with the Pharah Mercy coming out. CLG's offense is going to be different to what they've been playing against so far. Whereas LG Evo running the same kind of stuff, this double hit scan, Winston Diva. Whoa, Train immediately hits that rocket, damage boosted straight inside his mouth, blows him up from the inside out there.
I really liked the idea of that until that pick happened, because what they're doing is they finish the map. They finish the map, and so you run a very aggressive defense, because all you want to do is do what Rogue does. Don't give them anything for free. Don't give them a foot for free. We put someone on the cart all the time. We're just going to bleed the clock out on you, but you can't do it when you lose Train that early. It's just impossible to do.
Hydration picks him off again here. Train has fallen first again in this fight. The pick onto Avast. And this Pharah Mercy comp is working so well for CLG, at least at the beginning of this fight. And LG Evil really aren't going to be able to get a foothold here. The fact that they've taken the fight Arch, though, probably gives them one more if they're able to engage. They did lose players very late, though, actually, and that was both of their tanks that they would want to dive in with, so they might just have to set up on the ledge.
They got absolutely trounced there. It does seem like they want to fight. This is a team that doesn't want to give you anything. They always want to fight. Train and Jake are going to look to get in here, but getting zoned out very quickly. They will get tanks now in here, so again, a fight will commence because they want to stall out. It's trading off back and forth, but two already down for LG Evil. Rob and Super go down very quickly. However, Jake trying to equalize it, not going to be enough, as Avast and Vol get half health. Jake trying to do it all by himself, pops an ambitious visor, does end up dying. It is only Train on the point. But Train! Oh my god, it's a double!
What just happened? Train just won that for his team. Jake's optimistic optimistic visor there was absolutely just suicidal. He was running it straight into Miso, but he managed to get the D-Mech and then forced out the self-destruct at the same time as that pulse bomb came in and catches both of them.
Well, it has been Train's map all day. I don't know why I expect any different. That is a really nice kill early on onto Rob. The barrage will look for Pater, but it's a mile away. Actually, a Matrix does keep him alive, but does find nothing. So regardless of the ults being used, it's only been a couple kills. Now 4 kills come down as Jake ends up eliminating himself. There will be stall out here, but I don't imagine this is going to be able to stall out in time, even though the tanks are on the cart. I don't think the reinforcements will get here. This should be first point captured, but a pretty solid first defense.
Yeah, they only really won one fight, but because they were taking lots of scrappy engagements, they did delay it for quite a while. 4 minutes on the clock to take this second area. They have a lot of ultimates. Both of the support ultimates up here for CLG. They can start to move these forward. They're both going to be up, though, for Rob and Avast on the defensive side. But that Resurrect could give them a lot of value to work with. But CLG have been fairly good at playing around it in general, actually.
The problem is, if either Jake or Rob dies, then there's going to be nothing to really contest the combo in the sky. Vol will come in, he's going to boot them off the edge, throws a self-destruct down onto the cart, somehow the dies to it. That's brutal.
And that's the pick that they absolutely needed. Sets that one up perfectly. No Resurrect available for them, and they can contest this for days. Miso has been taken out of the mech. Poor little baby Diva is gonna get shredded there, and Waffletastic just all alone can't really do anything. Keep pressure a little bit. Pulse bomb thrown out, doesn't quite connect with Super, but he's waiting for reinforcements here. Whenever everybody else is in. Again, though, this single damage boosted rocket is feasting on Tracers.
I don't find that funny at all. I don't know why you're chuckling. I've died to single damage boosted rockets way too many times. Rob and Jake try to equalize it up. They will pop a sound barrier here as Jake puts down another visor. He's getting chased all over by the Diva, unable to find Pater just yet. Still Miso right in his face. Miso will eat a pulse bomb, probably going to be doomed momentarily. Will instead self-destruct so we can get a refresh on that cyber suit.
And they used the Transcendence as well just to keep everybody back in the fight. That was kind of Rob telling the rest of his team, it's time to engage, guys. They've used all of their ultimates. We can get back into this one. And Shiny is the only one with an ult on the board of CLG, and LG Evil with this scrappy engagement fight, all on the low ground as well. And all kind of has been one big team fight, but they're making it work. Jake coming out with the picks as well. And they finish off the kills here. It's going to be a while until... Oh, Hydration's actually switched over to the Roadhog as well. Are we going to see a switch from D? Surely.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you're not going to run a Mercy with this composition. You can only run a Mercy with a Pharah because she needs escapes. Now, Jake did get the kills there, but I want to give Super a lot of credit. He made that combo extremely uncomfortable, was pressuring down D to push him out of back, that thus forced Hydration out of position. So they're going to run the tank-heavy composition, which I think can still work on this map, force the other team to jump onto you from the high ground. You're not going to fight over high ground. You make them make the choice of when to fight it. Pulse Bomb will come in from Train, takes down Waffle, 2 kills quick.
That's a nice play by them. LG Evil still scrappy on the floor. CLG finding it difficult. There's the hook though. Hydration finds that one, but Jake isn't grabbed off the back, able to just retreat on the balcony. And LG Evil again able to stay in control. This was kind of the same thing that we saw from them when they were attacking though. They got stalled on second point for a long time, but as soon as they cracked it, they were able to get down. They got a lot more verticality from CLG's composition, but they've still struggled to take the ledge.
Well, they're going for the flank right now, or at least they're setting up for it. Everyone is rotating around there. It's not sneaky. LG Evil knows exactly what is happening, exactly where they're setting up. They just want to make sure if they're coming to church or all the way around the other side, they are going to come through this upper side here, and a fight on the high ground commences.
Miso for the moment. Oh, there's a nice right click from Hydration, combines with Waffletastic to take down Super. And Rob's just used Transcendence on the floor. Self-destruct, surely not going to find anything up top. And they're still getting picks, actually. Jake's found the baby diva. And CLG still taking a very scrappy fight, but not getting the better end of it. That sound barrier could change things, though. They've got an opportunity here to get reinforced and take the fight towards themselves. That Transcendence is also going to send things further the way of CLG. And once this choke point is broached, who knows how far they're going to get.
Yeah, I don't know how they ended up in the courtyard. Both Jake and Train did over there. There's a reason you don't see fights over there very often. It's not an ideal place to fight. Both DPS end up getting pushed out in that direction. I wouldn't mind Waffle to just start throwing down a die here and just try to zone them out. Super has ambitions of jumping onto the card. He will do so. High Noon will be triggered onto the corner right there. Miso giving him all the protection in the world, and Super finds the wrong end of it. 2 quick kills, while a demeching at least from CLG as they look to pressure this second point.
They've got the cart rolling now. Vast taking a lot of damage as well. Rob 420's been pressured out of the fight. Oh, Vast actually re-healing himself, putting a lot of damage into Hydration. Getting a huge amount of pressure. Gonna get finished off with the Helix Rocket, but that's not enough. 1 minute and a half here to take this third checkpoint, but they have to deliver it all the way, and that's a huge ass on Dorado. So easy to defend this final portion.
90 seconds. If LG Evil is able to hold, they will be your champions here. If this push goes through, well, then we have more Overwatch. Stakes as high as they can be. LG Evil setting up on the high ground. They don't have any ultimates. Only ult on the field is a self-destruct. Miso's going to push it up top and force the issue.
Oh, that self-destruct was so close to just landing on top of that corridor behind them all. But they're finding picks on LG Evil here. This is the momentum that they needed to carry forwards. They're going to be able to pit a down Vol as well. Health dropping really low here for the Zarya, and he's eventually going to fall. They're staggering these spawns as well. Individual players falling left, right, and center for LG Evil. CLG going to be able to clutch it short. Not 40 seconds.
This is actually still pretty decent for LG Evil because they were able to stall out the cart and get 2 kills during that time. And you see right now they cannot press in. There's nothing they can do except wait for their team. There will be one final skirmish. Mikado has sound barrier that could be huge. Voss should get there during the duration of this fight. Jake also has the visor. Meanwhile, Miso comes in from the backside. A giant brawl and Earthshatter knocks down 2.
That chatter, they don't have the follow-up though. There's nobody up top, and the sound barrier is going to be popped out from a Vast. Train finds the D-Mech, then picks up the Baby Diva, and all of these support ultimates. It's just too much to get through. CLG, they put a valiant effort, but LG Evil are going to be our champions for the CyberPowerPC Spring Invitational.